have been named, in that Pandora, that asked about 11.9 million confidential files. Shows how president, prime minister, royals, elected officials, and some members of family members and some of their family members and close associates stashed assets, in covert financial systems. So that means, somebody like myself and you that are just trying to make, our own little ways of life, are being penalized, for not, either doing the right thing or doing the right thing or the wrong thing. But again, I just try to bring these two into the conversation so that we can have a clear understanding of what we are dealing with. So it is not just about um, the situation of media clampdown in Nigeria. I'm going to use Nigeria as much as using location 9, because sometimes, as much as we might say we are the only one listening, we also have so many people from around the globe that are looking for source of information, whether they are friends of Nigerians or they are not, whether they are friends of the Oduduwa or the Yoruba or the Middle Belt or the Biafrans, that just have, they might not literally be from that region, but they have interest of what is happening. So, and that is why, sorry, bear with me. I'm just trying to also share the link, because, like I said, we're already live now, as well. So, to just give us that background of media clampdown. So, when I talked about the Pandora Papers, I talked about the WikiLeaks.
Mr. Koiki, yeah, we don't speak about
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. 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 Sorry about that. Well, I was thinking I could share, but I'll do that in reverse from the laptop. I was trying to share the link onto the broadcast for those that might want to join, into the link. So I've been able to go back a little bit. I'm sure some of us, maybe not every, but some of us must have heard about the late Delegiwa. He was a Nigerian journalist. Uh, Delegiwa was a Nigerian journalist and also an editor and the founder of News Watch magazine. He was born just about March in 1947, but his life was cut short in 1986. And if a lot of us are not aware, uh, next week, Tuesday, will be the month, or I mean the day Delegiwa was killed. So when we now try to, look that into some of the development coming up next week, we will remember that next week will be 1 year that the NSAS were killed. And again, let us remember that media was gagged. Media was not allowed, to do the needful. Not that we don't have, the media on ground, but I remember, I'm just trying to bring our mind so that a lot of people are not just thinking it is just about these corrupt government of Lai Mohammed that can easily come up and tell you nothing is happening in Nigeria. I also want us to remember that it has been so with some of our brilliant journalists that have been killed, thrown into wilderness, and and it seems last year we were talking about 34 years after the murder of Delegiwa. We are still seeking for justice. But when I bring it down this year now, which is 2021, so by this time next week, it will be 35 years that we've lost these brilliant journalists. But we've got to remember it was giving an information that the world or the majority of those that were in power, which is Babangida as at the time, were not happy. So and they had to take him out. So when we now talk about uh, probably maybe somebody like myself, majority and other of media that were in power that are talking, we would understand the power of the new media that we have in our hands today, which is different from what somebody like Daily Giwa was using. You know, these were using their own uh, media of the newspaper to communicate. So if I go back to, you know, prior before Daily Giwa was killed in 1986, you probably have to go, which is a lot of people still do. You know, if you go on a Saturday tomorrow morning, people will gather around, the vendor. They can't afford to buy the paper, but they can read the headline. So when we now move it forward 35 years, if the government of Nigeria have a juju to tell them that 35 years you might not be able to control how you were controlling Delegiwa and the rest of the team of those media as at that time. Because what they could do then was, because these were print media, if we want to use the right word for it, that means they have a base where they have to produce this volume of News Watch, which was what Delegiwa was producing then. It's called News Watch magazine. And they could easily send in, their soldiers, their secret service police, or so, and cut away documents, computers or whatever they were using as at the time. And probably those individuals will spend more years, in the dungeon of the underground cells of the government. But 34 years now, we now have a new media, which is called the social media. And the social media that we have in our hands means that as I'm having this conversation, let us also remember that I can confirm now that at least we have people that are listening on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the MixLR, and they are all over the world. So that means that I don't have to be in one location anymore, like how Delegiwa was operating. So that means I could easily operate from my bedroom, which I'm reporting from right now and having this conversation, with the, with, the brilliant minds that wants to listen. So it is very difficult for as much as it can still be controlled, but it is very difficult for somebody like Alhaji Lai Mohammed to tell us that next week, Wednesday, this time last year, next week, Wednesday, not this time, but this time next week, Wednesday, um, hundreds of innocent Nigerians were killed. But Alhaji Lai Mohammed is still thinking that they are still in that dark era where they can cover up. But they didn't realize that DJ Switch was transmitting from that point of Lekki massacre to the international world, to the international community. And if a lot of us have listened to her, from her base where she's taking protection, again, she has to run away for her life. But unfortunately, Delegiwa was killed because his life was stopped because he didn't have enough time to run away. If somebody like me has been in Nigeria, who knows? We saw how Ifeoluwa Lady K has been taken away and being charged, for a crime that she has not committed. Let us remember, I am in my 40s. Delegiwa life was stopped at the age of 39. So that means, we can only say that we are lucky to still be alive today because this government would have stopped so many lives like my brother that spoke earlier on before I came on board. and they are still prepared to do so, and they are not ready to back down. Why? Because we are giving out the truth using a different form of media that is different from what the government know. And it's very difficult for them to stop a conversation like this now. I mean, they might have to, infiltrate my IP address. They might have to infiltrate probably maybe few jobless, quote and unquote Nigerians, either at home or outside, that are against the truth. Because as far as they're concerned, we are talking nonsense. And you might say, well, what do you mean by that? I did a screenshot of a post that somebody commented on my Instagram 9 hours ago. I put on there, no good roads, no security, no welfare, no planning, no education, nothing is working. I'm not sure whether this was too much for me to put out on the Instagram. This was the response of these young Nigerian. Oga, go rest. Now wow to you. Now what to you too? No good news ever had on your Instagram. Before your grandfather and mother was born, Nigeria is one. Use your time on earth to chase something better than this nonsense. And I hope everybody hear what I just said there. Or maybe you want me to repeat it. I know we're all muted, but maybe somebody might just want to unmute.
We can see you clearly.
So,
We hear you, sir.
ahead. So you can see what.
Please repeat it. Read it again.
Okay, yes, I will repeat it again. And I can share these with Doctor, to probably put it out to your group later. I put there no good roads in Nigeria, no security, no welfare, no planning, no education. Nothing is working. But this young Nigerian believes that I'm talking nonsense, and this was his response to my post. Oga, go rest. Now what to you too? No good news ever had on your Instagram. That means, as far as he's concerned, he has never seen a good news on my Instagram. Before your grandfather and mother was born, he's now referring back to my grandfather and my grandmother. Nigeria has been won. But as far as he doesn't understand that there was nothing called Nigeria before 1914. But because history was purposely removed by the same government to again gag what we would have called media. Because if this young Nigerian knows what history was all about, he would have known that if I'm talking about no good roads, as we speak today, just before coming on air, I can confirm that there is an ongoing, and like they said, they call them headers, but they are not. These are terrorists operating across the length and breadth of the country. And I can confirm that as at just 40 minutes before I came on air, there's been another attack. But the government does not want us to use the word terrorist. And each of my posts, I do not put it out as bandit. I put it out as terrorist. So these young Nigerians now believe that I am not using my time on earth properly. I should use it for something much better. And the question is, who do we blame? Do I blame, according to this Instagram handle, Dad's 30? Should I blame, this government? Should I blame our elders that refuse to do the needful? Now, my question is, when we want to reverse this mess, because we are all in big mess, it does not matter whether some of us are outside the country or some of us are inside the country. Every single one of us are in big mess. Like our hater, Dr. Kemi Olunloyo will always say that news is underreported in Nigeria. And you might be asking yourself, why are we underreporting news? It's because the fear of the unknown The fear of what might happen to you should you report that news. And that is why when people look at Abubakar Idris, you might not know that name. But when I say Dadiyata, I'm sure some of you now will start thinking, I think I've heard about that name before. Let's talk about him a little bit. Abubakar Idris, as I speak to you right now, has been missing for the last 2 years. Dadiyata was a critic of the Nigerian government. He's got a 2-year-old daughter. Abubakar Idris, also known as Dadiyata, is a lecturer and a flicks critic of the Nigerian government. He was adopted from his home, just like Omoyele Sowore. The only difference is Sowore, that is also, August 5th, 2000, which is about 4 days, was lucky because there was a camera that picked them up while they were moving into, the hotel to pick up Sowore. If Lady K, known as Ifeoluwa, did not go live on the 1st of July, again using the new media, we could have been mourning more dead of what happened at Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho's house on the 1st of July. So, but Daddy Yata was not so lucky, and we can only pray for a safe return. When? We don't know. How long? We don't know. But we are just hoping and praying that his life will be spared for him to come out and give us whatever he must have gone through in the hands of these shameful world that we are living, that everybody has forgotten about him because he was a critic of the government. Again, he was taken from his home on the 1st of August 2019 in Kaduna. And the question we should be asking ourselves is Kaduna not boiling? But somebody like El Rufai, the little finger, as my brother in Glasgow, Mayegun, we always call him, will tell you that nothing is happening right now in Kaduna. Kaduna is so peaceful. But Daddy Yata, that was criticizing the government, knows that there's fire on the mountain in Kaduna. So what I want us to also remember is it then worth it to stand on the truth, or is it worth it to just keep quiet? We might decide to keep quiet because we do not want to be killed. We don't want to be taken away from our loved ones. But one thing we've got to also remember is it does not matter how you might look at it. I've just told you that Sowore is lucky to have been kept in Abuja, even though we know it is not his portion to be there. But he was lucky because camera picked them when they were picking him up, because he demanded a revolution now, which according to the government is like the government is not happy. My question then is, when a lot of the youth are looking at some of these, crime against humanity, the genocide happening in the southeast part of the country today, again, is underreported. Not that we don't have brilliant journalists, bloggers that would like to report it, but they're scared of being called IPOB members or being taken away, and then nobody knows, wherever they are. Means that everybody is now scared to the bone marrow of these government that we are currently facing. But should we relent? My question is, we must not relent, because whatever we do, they say government go, government come, whether they like it or not, whether people agree or not. New nation will be birthed and this government will collapse. It is just a matter of time. So that means some of us that are adamant that we are not going to back down, we should continue on that, so that the next generation will know that we fought hard during those very difficult time, of these government that we are currently facing. The governor of Ondo State is currently in London, and I've followed some of the his movement. He's been to schools. He was taken to the mayor's office, and I laugh because when you see some of these politicians, just like I was chasing, between myself, and the Pastor Ruga, Ikene Shakabantu. I'm talking about the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that was giving a speech at the London School of Economics last week Friday. But you can see, for those of us that watch those clips, that they are nothing when they are in Europe. It is only when they are in Nigeria they have this venom, this power in them that they can do and undo. But the moment they are outside, you will realize that they are nothing. And when I say they are nothing, I've seen every one of them, from the former emir Sanusi to the current governor of Ondo State to the current governor of Oyo State. But our question then is, why are they making media not to perform their role in a civilized society? A lot of people will say Nigeria is not civilized. I do say that we have well-educated people, professors, lecturers, different professionals. But the fear of the unknown is the reason why, again, so many people decide not to say much. I don't listen to channels and TVC, and you could say that as much as they try to balance their conversation, again, they are still not putting out the right information to the public. So the public get missed out of the exact situation of what the country is presently. And I was on a late night broadcast yesterday, and I had someone called and again says, it seems those of us that are demanding, which is our right, self-determination, we are not getting the youth to come along with us. And the reason for that is because maybe our presentation, or maybe because they are disengaged from us. And I said they are probably not disengaged. It's because if the media, like Ruben Abati, I probably say maybe doctor, for those of you that might say, why not add the doctor to it, was speaking with the barrister Ejimofo of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on a live transmission. And you would think that somebody like, Dr. Ruben Abati would understand the difference between kidnapping and rendition and arrest. And he kept using the word that Nnamdi Kanu was arrested. Let's hear this very well. Again, we're talking about the media clampdown in Nigeria. But because Arise Television, that has large viewership, they are operating in Nigeria. They've had interview with, I call him dead or alive. It doesn't make any difference to me because, whether Buhari is alive or dead, you don't know the difference. But Ruben Abati, on a live transmission, was using the word arrested of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya. And I'm just on my laptop and I'm gonna say, let's hear the sound very well from me.
Arrest.
Let me increase the volume a little bit. Once again, thank you very much for allowing me to come and speak to you.
Arrest.
So, when somebody is now arrested, that means we're talking about the past tense. Now let's look at the meaning of kidnapping. But I want us to remember the meaning of arrest is seize someone by legal authority and take them to custody. This was the word that Ruben Abati was using as against what I would have used if I was the one speaking with that barrister. So when I say kidnapping, it's a different meaning completely to what Ruben Abati was telling Nigerians in terms of their millions. So again,
Kidnapping. Kidnapping.
the action of adopting someone and holding them captive. So we can see that there's two different words. Again, arrest is when somebody come to my house and they say you've done something wrong. The UK government would like to speak to you, but before knocking on my door, they must also show me search warrant, which they must have to get from the court. But now the question is, those Nigerians at home that have also been told that we are secessionists, that's the word they've been using on so many of us that are agitating, campaigning for the actualization of a Yoruba nation. And again, the same Ruben Abati is coming up to also tell us that we are secessionists rather than self-determination. Again, secession is a person who advocates a section of an office or throne. That means, we want part of Nigeria. But we don't want part of Nigeria. Nigeria has been part of us because, they were using Nigeria on our indigenous land. And that is a big crime itself against humanity. And until those of us in our little numbers, whether you are, a writer, you're an advocate that can speak very well, you're on the radio, whatever platform that you can use with the current media that we have, we must always rewrite those conversations with them. Because if we do not do so, we are also leaving room for millions of people to believe that that kind of conversation is the right one. Let's look at some of these other bits that have opened up. Okay, 1 minute. I think it's on this machine. I want to take us back to again. I'm going to talk a little bit about the anti-open grazing. Again, using the media, not to give us the right information. But there's something I did open that I wanted to touch on. And this was again this month, 1st of October. Dead or alive, Buhari, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is what he has to say. President Muhammadu Buhari, whose government has been accused of clamping down. We are discussing about media clampdown tonight. Again, for record purpose, 15th of October 2021 is just coming up to 2 minutes to 10 p.m. Local time here from London. President Muhammadu Buhari, whose government has been accused of clamping down on the free speech, has accused the Nigerian media of just reposting irresponsible remarks. And my question is, who is been reporting irresponsible remarks in Nigeria? Is it the the print media? Is it the international media? Who exactly? He has the guts on the 1st of October speech to say, in a televised broadcast that marks the 61 years of failure. I don't call it independent because we're not independent. There's nothing independent about us. We are still being controlled. He says, our media houses and commentators, so that means not literally everybody that is talking. We also have people that sometimes are commentators. Some of you commenting are commentators. Must move away from just reporting irresponsible remarks to investigating the truth behind all statements and presenting the fact to readers. My question then is, are we saying that today in Nigeria, today, 13,000, I want us to take note of this, 13,000 terrorists, again, they're using the word bandits, have surrendered. My question then is, those that have been even reporting them as bandits, what happened to them? What happened to them? If 13,000 plus, and out of that 13,000, 3,000 of them are jihadist terrorists, men, 3,000 of them are women, and the remaining 6,000 are children. But according to Buhari, he says attack on the media was part of his comment on how some of the violence being perpetrated across Nigeria are caused by remarks people make. So that means, according to the government, just like they've held, our beautiful sister, and we demand her to be free, Lady K, also known as Ifeoluwa, that this government is counting me, Olayomi Koiki of KOIKIMEDIA, as someone perpetrating violence in Nigeria. And that means an average Nigerian believes that we are the cause of the atrocity, the crime, the kidnapping. Just like I said earlier, that the young boy, because I call him a young boy that doesn't know anything, I am the problem of no welfare in Nigeria, no security, no education, and I said nothing is working. But as far as it is concerned, I'm just wasting my time on this earth. I should do something better for my life. But I am only doing something better for humanity, to bring his conscious mind back to reality, that it is due to the fact that media has been gagged. And that is why we are all now demanding that we must not give up. I know we still want to have questions and answers, so maybe I'm going to come back into the house, but if you can just give me maybe another 5 minutes. Again, I'm still talking about the broadcast of Buhari, and it's not the first time he has done so. This is a man that overthrown a civilian government, which again, in 1983, stopped a lot of development. And we know where we are today, 6 years of this government, 6 years of failure, 6 years of crime against humanity, 6 years of genocide. Buhari is now saying that I would therefore take this opportunity on this special day. There's nothing special about October 1st because it's a crime scene and it has to end now. It must end now. He says that on this special day that symbolize the unity and the oneness of our great nation. Again, these are part of the lies by telling Nigerians that we are united. There's this unity, there's oneness. But the nepotism of this government that have decided to allow more of their own tribe, ethnic group, to overrun the rest of us. And that is why today, everybody is scared. Everybody is running away. Everybody does not want to live in Nigeria. If you allow me, let me just play this for us to hear.
Where's their president from? Fulani. Chief of staff, Fulani. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Fulani. Senate President of Nigeria is coming to your process, Fulani. Deputy Speaker is Fulani. The Army Chief of Staff is Fulani. Navy Chief of Fulani. Police IG, Fulani. DSS is Fulani. National Intelligence Agency, Fulani. National Safety Advisors,
So you can see that out of the 7 names that have been mentioned, it is just one tribe, or Fulani, Fulani, Fulani. And the question then is, why is all our, those that we look up to when we were growing up, yes, some of them have been speaking hard on this, government that thinks that, they can hold us back, you know, by not allowing us to progress. And there's still one more person I just want us to listen to before I come finally and hand over to the moderator, and then we continue with the program. Let's hear our own Professor Wole Soyinka, the Nobel laureate. This was what he said on the NBC regulation. He talked about the grazing route, and he talked about Chief Sunday Igboho, but we're only going to take the first part of it. Let's hear it together.
It has to do with decree number 4 under any other name. It's still decree number 4. And I believe that this parallelism was pointed out at the time when the so-called regulation was passed. Various media, I remember The Guardian was one of them, which said it's just decree number 4 by other means. But now we've been watching the play of this, the interventions, using a spearhead this decree. And so I think nobody's left in any doubt that both the spirit and the letter of this Broadcasting Commission decree have indicated clearly where the freedom of expression is being taken, and it should be stopped as quickly as possible. I think all of you have, I don't know if you've seen this letter, which is sent by the National Broadcasting Commission to Channel TV. It just happens to be channels, it could be anyone.
It could be KOIKIMEDIA, it could be anyone, it could be any one of us.
It's the first time I've actually seen an example of the kind of query that the media is getting. Yeah, just take one or two examples. Here's the title notice of infraction. And section, the broadcaster shall ensure that its presenter shall handle with professionalism and sound judgment to ensure, etc., etc. Professionalism, sound judgment. Who decides that?
Who decide that?
Is
it the Vice President of Nigeria? Is it Fashola?
Mass communication forum.
Hmm.
Is it judging people's papers? Is it setting examination? Says you haven't shown sound judgment. I mean, who's the impartial arbiter?
So let me just leave that, and I'm sure we all, and we should be grateful that we still have, somebody like, our father, Professor Wole Soyinka, still around with us, to hit it hard. And he says, and this is going on in 21st century, but we are not going to allow it to happen. This generation will stop it, and part of stopping it is we will continue to demand a total self-determination. I'm going to stop here for now, and I say thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Olayomi Koiki. Yeah, before anybody comments, I want to comment because this is a live section. It's being streamed on Facebook and YouTube. So if you want your voice to actually come up in it, you can come on stage, and if you don't want your voice to be heard, you can actually stay in the audience. And it's an audio live section. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yodich. We're going to be taking questions. So if you have any question for Koiki, we want you to link your mic, then we're going to take the cue. And also, we also have one of our fathers here with us in the president of Mr. Chris Akibade. He is the leader of the Lanomodua Canada. So we'll be bringing him up as well to also address us regarding this issue, this topic on ground. So if you have any questions for Koiki and you are the audience, you can send your raise up your hands so we can bring you up. And if you're already on stage, you can flash your mic and ask your question. All right, so over to you, Olori.
Okay, thank you, everybody. My speech today is to Mr. Olayomi Koiki. It's basically just to make a correction of what he just presented to us, one of his speech, where he was referring to Professor Shebajo as Ikene Shakabantu. With all due respect, sir, I would appreciate it if you do not bring a whole ethnic tribe into your conversation when you're trying to describe somebody that you either like or you don't like in the future. I am an Ikene, proudly Ikene woman, and I take a huge exception to that. I'm here fighting for the cause of my people, the Yoruba people. I am, if not one of the top self-determination fighter, I would count myself to be privileged to be, in the bottom top 100. So please, going forward, let's not repeat that. Thank you.
Do we have questions from Mr. Koiki? Questions? Flash your mic.
Yes, can I speak, Mr. Blake?
Yeah, before you go, I think Ms. Adedoyi has a question.
Oh, I
Ms.
can
Adedoyi.
wait. I can wait. No worries.
Mr. Bob, what's your question?
Yes, thank you. I just want to, before Mr. Koiki speaks, I would just like to respond to the last speaker. We all know, I'm Yoruba myself, by the way. We all know that Yemi Osinbajo is the vice president of Nigeria at the moment. He's a Yoruba man. Yes, Yemi Osinbajo, we don't need to personalize the issue, okay? But Yemi Osinbajo has failed in his duty as a Yoruba man to protect the interests of his own people. And he has brought it upon himself for people to call him names, okay? Now, the Fulanis are there, they're controlling the country, they're dominating everything. Osinbajo is there as a Yoruba person. He has never, ever said anything to defend Yoruba people. In everything he does, all he does is pander to what the Fulanis are doing. So don't let us personalize the issue. I think I'm not defending Koiki, but I think Koiki or any Yoruba person has every right to criticize Mr. Osinbajo. And for one, I mean, I actually like the way that, in fact, what Mr. Koiki said, all he did was actually to use the term that Mayeko uses to describe Osinbajo. Osinbajo has brought it upon himself. Please don't come on this platform and defend him. He has failed in his duty as the vice president of Nigeria to protect the interests of his own people. Fulanis are going all over Nigeria, killing Yoruba people. The Yoruba people are living as exiles. Yeah, how dare you protect Osinbajo, for God's sake? Everybody can call him whatever they like because he has failed in his duty and he should be ashamed of himself. Thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Bob. I mean, you need to watch your language when you talk to people. I mean, I'm really like.
Hold on, Mr. Hold on. We won't do that here. Mr. Adedoyi, you can ask your question.
Okay, I don't even know where to go from there, but I wanted to ask about the role the media played before even.
Excuse me, can I finish speaking? Go. I'm still talking. Somebody muted my mic. Who did?
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, Olori. Please, just be alone. We won't do that here. Just be alone. There's a lot of people in here.
He made a commission now. He made some information. I need to respond. Please, let me just finish my conversation. Let me respond to him, and then I'm going to mute my mic, okay? Don't mute me when I'm talking, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. He made an allegation that I'm protecting him. I'm not protecting him, and I'm not supporting him. What I'm telling Koiki is should not malign a whole ethnic tribe. When he's talking about Osibajo, call him whatever name you want to call him, but please don't put Ikene in it. That's what I said.
Okay,
And I don't care whose horse is God. You know, he has disappointed Yoruba people, fine, but don't put Ikene people into it. I'm Ikene now. I'm also Ikene. Am I not fighting for Yoruba nation? So please, Mr. Bob, don't try it again next time. You are the one. You can put on notice. Don't try it again.
Okay, Mr. Bob, you know, don't do it wrong. Mr. Yemi, Mr. Olayomi, you know, so I just got move so is answer I didn't please please right now.
Okay. My question is to Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Thank you so much for actually coming on this platform to speak to us. We really appreciate it. It's an honor to have you here. And my question is regarding the role of the media prior to elections or during elections. I know we have investigative journalists and stuff like that. What did they do, or what was their role before the current administration became president or took office? How were we so gullible, the Nigerian people, to vote this man in? Did they not play a role in educating the people, informing the citizens of his current or his previous record? 1 second, love. His previous record. Were we gagged then too? And I mean, even if we were gagged, Buhari was not in office. What role did they play, and how did we get here? If we have journalists that are speaking now, even though they are kind of tailored to a specific message, but they weren't then because Buhari wasn't in office. So what happened?
Thank you very much. And I say once again, I've listened carefully to the first sister, but I would just say I've listened to you carefully so that we can just move on, in the conversation. I'm from Ogun State, and I believe we're all one, regardless of wherever we are from. But we will just move on so that I don't focus on that part. But I'm sure we're not, putting a stigma to everyone within that, particular part of the Southwest. So going back to the second question, you're quite right. The question you've asked is very vital because not every one of us probably, and I use the word probably, did a little bit of push, or maybe those that were speaking out, there was not enough voice on it. A lot of people say, Buhari coming was a good thing. And the reason is if he hasn't come in, maybe we won't even be having this conversation. Maybe we won't know that the inflation, the exchange rate, the economy, and all whatever we are discussing. So it depends on how we want to weigh. I flew to Nigeria before this second time election as an observer with my own personal money from London, and I did cover the presidential election in Lagos, and I'm still going to come back to the question of how did we manage to allow him, with all his crime that he did in the 80s, because when we talk about reason why we don't have the rail network in Lagos, Buhari was one of those that stopped it, and he went back to commission in Ikeja, a bus terminal. You can see the craziness of it. I think a lot of us realize that something was wrong maybe just after Buhari came to power. We didn't really, maybe some of us followed it, but not every, I will use the word probably Nigerians, in general, did follow the goings in Nigeria. And when I say the going, that means, as much as we all travel 2 weeks, those that live there, were just living, and everybody was just doing their little things until that government of Jonathan, or the PDP of 16 years, eventually um, left, and then APC came. But what they sold out again was they cover up everything surrounding him. In as much as there was a lot of batch of people trying to ask those questions, and I mean, record of it that some people, like I said, it's just something like what we are doing now. Not everybody will agree with it. A lot of Yoruba still believe in Nigeria. A lot of Biafran believe in Nigeria. A lot of Middle Belt, and so on and so forth. So we must not allow what has happened in the past of bringing him in to stop us now bringing the awareness and the conscious mind of the present situation. Some of us probably know that Nigeria was bad or gone wrong after the COVID. So was COVID a good thing? Again, it's something that every one of us would have to, decide on our minds. I remember even when the VP was added on that train. There was a video of him trending then, that as a lecturer, he didn't have a vehicle and all that and all that. I'm sure some of us have seen those videos. And just like we were told, now, I'm talking about now, if we look at the former comrade, Olayomi, I hope I remember his name properly, he was also telling us, recently, that he was part of those that went to America to also convince them that, this man was good. Only for us to realize now that they have a different hidden agenda. So the agenda that was not completed in the 80s is what is now being completed in 2021. So yes, some of us failed to speak out as much, in terms of what should have been done in bringing the awareness to the public about this man. And I remember when they were coming down to London, I've been to Chatham House, and I'm sure they'll be coming down all very soon again. Buhari was there. Um, you will not be given that. I mean, if we look at some of the interviews that it was granted prior to becoming, the president. I think was the ITV journalist that did ask him about Boko Haram, and he was just flaring up. What is Boko Haram? Now we know what is Boko Haram, because what they've done now is giving them that mantle to surrender, and then bring them into the Nigerian military, and then therefore and so on, so which we are all playing out. So it is not too late, as much as we shouldn't have allowed him to come in, but then people were thinking it was more politics. Even as of today, people say somebody like us are being paid, by PDP. That is why we don't want, Bola Tinubu to become the next president. We don't want Yoruba. They call us the Libra. That we are the Libra. We are Yoruba Libra. We are not conservative. So, but the most important thing is, now that we have all the information in our hands, not just on Buhari, we are talking about a whole information about we the Yorubas, or some say we the Omodudua or Omoluabi, whichever one we want to use, to really, not that we didn't know that 1914 was there prior to the campaign, but the beauty now, like I said, is we can turn things around. And I'm happy to, I remember when I went to cover the governorship election, I was in more than 10 different polling units, if not 15, in Abeokuta. And I remember visiting one polling unit, very remote area. And now I realize, when I play back, I think I talked about it a few times on my program, that these were Fulani that were living with us, because I was even asking them why they've not gone to vote. They were not interested in voting. But now I realize that these were people that have been with us as well. But I remember that I was using my phone to stream from one of the polling units, and I almost got, I won't say killed, but we almost, I mean, we were attacked, because they were surprised that, why do I have a mobile phone in front of the polling unit? What was I doing with the phone? But I didn't realize I was transmitting live. And this again is part of what the power of the new media that we have in our hands. But I'm sure now, when they thought we were just mere social media, now you can see that they realize that it's gone beyond social media. So yes, there's been a kind of imbalance. A lot of people spoke about Buhari coming, but some say it was good, and now we realize that his goodness is almost dividing the country. And I think I'll let it be for now. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take any more questions.
I think Alakunayila has to go after the lady.
You can
All right. Thank you very much. I greet everybody. Happy weekend. All the moderators. Olayomi Koiki, thank you for being on the stage. I just want to add to what Olayomi said with respect to the question I did ask. And I will add to the question and respond by saying that maybe we should have asked why were we gagged, not even the media alone, before Buhari came on board in 2015. And with due respect to your dignity of labor, field of life at the end, I just want to say that that's a question you ask. Yes, promise. Okay, I said with due respect to your dignity of labor, to everything. I think my network is just misbehaving. But can you guys hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
All right, with everything you have acquired in and outside of Nigeria, I'm just trying to say that this question you ask someone in the next 10 years may still ask the question. And when the person asks the question, maybe some people at that time will be able to okay, do we actually need to say yes? And before 2017, when Jonathan came on board, we were very happy and we thought that, okay, maybe Jonathan, being an educated professor, would be able to put. I don't want to start talking about corruption and some other things that have surrounded Atiku's presidency and all those stuff. So we felt that Buhari was the best at that time. And so people were going all around, meeting people Tinubu. I'm a lover and addicted follower of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Till then, as at then, even though now I felt that we have moved on from that stage. And so we thought that Buhari would be the best option for Nigeria. So, and I will say it anyway, Buhari bowed down to the northern agenda. That was the problem. And there is nobody, mark my word, if you don't believe me, mark my word, in the next 10 years, you will agree with this statement. There is no president in Nigeria today that will not bow down to that agenda, as long as it is still one Nigeria. You come from anywhere, you will bow down to that agenda. They have the population at the federal level, at the Senate level, whatever. And if you don't, they will show you way out. They did that to Jonathan. But unfortunately, we the Southerners, we thought that we were doing the right thing. And so, to respond to the question that they asked, that were the journalists gagged? No, they were not. We have good number of Nigerians that wanted that is good hands lifting it up in Nigeria. We also have double of those are bringing it down in Nigeria. And so why some people felt that Buhari is not the best, people were playing videos of what Buhari did in 1984. 84 was not far for some of us. We were not that young. We knew what happened in 84. But we thought that Buhari is still the best. And so what those people were saying in those days, that don't bring in Buhari, of course, stared at us in our face that we took a wrong step. And so we campaigned heavily to bring Buhari on board. Yeah. Now, we brought Buhari on board. So we all saw it that it was a wrong decision. Now, the question Adedoye asked, if care is not taken for those that are shouting, go get your PVC, election is the solution, you just have to do this, you have to do that. If you think election is the solution in 2023 plus another 8 years, you will know that no. I think the solution to the crisis in Nigeria is just for nations to be best out of the so-called Nigeria so that each region can be built. And so I submit by saying that, yes, it is just now that media are being gapped. People are afraid of reporting now. Individuals, media houses, they are afraid of reporting crime and, news in Nigeria. We cannot say, if you do it, they will come after you and they will silence you. I think I give my phone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on. Thank you very much. I'm going to do a quick recess. This is Masses, Simple and Ciphers. Masses stands for the Middle Belt Southern State Security Summit. And the topic today is the media clampdown, in Nigeria. And we also need to understand the fact that a lot of things have been happening. We're going to be looking at this from different angles. We have with us Comrade Olayomi Koiki, who is a great media person in the space. We also have another guest with us, Mr. Chris Akingbade, who is the leader of the Lava Moldua in Canada. And we're going to be looking at it from different perspectives. We're going to also look at it from the legal perspective as well. We have with us Fend. His name is Dotimi. He's a legal practitioner. He's also going to be coming to talk to us from the legal perspective as well. So I'm going to be taking two more questions from us. Then we'll move to Mr. Chris to quickly talk through this about this topic. We'll take questions from him, and then we'll move to Mr. Felix as well. So two more questions, and I will take FBI. Who else wants to ask a question? Any other person? Blink your mic if you have a question. All right, FBI. Okay, after FBI, we'll have Chief.
Okay, good evening, Olayomi Koiki and Mr. Chris. Thank you very much. I've seen what you've been doing before I even came to Clubhouse. I've known you, a shoot on you, and the oil of your glory will never run dry. Thank you very, very much, and God bless you. I have one question. But before I ask that question, I will first say this. In life, when you're making a decision, you have to be responsible for it. Yes. This man has come here and said 100%. Just for that one, maybe you don't like it, and that is the one you picked and talk. That is not good. Awolowo is from Ikene, and we all loved him for who he is. So no one.
FBI, don't let us go into that again. I'm sorry,
Why? No, I know, but so that we later be because any of us are on by. I ask my question. Okay, it's very, very simple.
Just go to your question. I'm sorry, please.
So I'll ask my question. Please, okay, we are one Yoruba people. If you believe in it, everybody call people names. If they don't like it, anybody can call anybody thing. So you know, wala. Now, my question is this. I was in Nigeria last, last month, right? And I want to ask, this media clampdown, but I was surprised when I saw a Yoruba nation flag in a particular village I don't even expect the campaign to get to. So how are we doing the campaign? Like, how are we sanitizing our people locally without even showing it on social media? Because I believe when you show it, they will come for you. So how are we doing? Like, let's say, for example, if the referendum come to Yoruba land today, let's say, for example, how are we show our people are aware enough to vote out of Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much once again, and I'm very pleased and honored to be invited to my first broadcast ever on Clubhouse. And I say thank you very much, and I'm not taking it for a joke at all. Even though I said I was going to spend an hour, but I think I'm enjoying it as well, and I'm sure all the listeners from around the globe are listening carefully, and I'm reading all the comments as it's coming through. Yes, you're quite right. We have a big task in our hands, and I'm sure the only way we can deliver the message is not just on the social media for those of us that have, a good quality network, good phones, tablet to listen to. We also want to make sure that, people on the ground can also do the same thing. And when you look at somebody like I'm sure some of us will have listened to him a few times on different platforms, Dr. Aliu, and also some of the other YNN and different other groups that are working tirelessly on the mobilization of this um, movement. Let us remember that we've not been given that go ahead for a referendum. But the moment that goes ahead, then the country will not have any other option than to allow a proper campaign that will not be having any hiccup by the government, because then the authority is going to be coming from United Nations, which I'm sure everybody's expecting them to give us this referendum, which we will be given a couple of months before we can say referendum. So that means we'll have enough, legs, foot soldiers that can do so much. But prior to that, what can we do more? Um, I'm sure some of us must have heard about a radio that was about to set up. There was some hiccup from in between it. I hope it will be resolved so that that satellite radio can come back on. Um, then that way our people will be able to tune in and listen into a conversation like this. The reason why we decided, to broadcast this as well, so that it's not just those of us, the numbers, I don't want to say few of us right here, we also have the numbers that are listening. That means people wants to know what is going on. We have 81 people on YouTube. We have about 100 and close to 100 or 200 thereabout on Facebook. So that means people are interested to know what is happening around us. And like you said, this message has to travel from village to village, from community to community. It is filtering through, but it is not yet enough. I did ask them late last night to put out a couple of posters, which we've got the video on our timeline, just close to the University of Ibadan. And I'm sure this morning we had our team right there, and just to get a reaction of people that were passing by. And there is no way that anybody that passed by would not have stopped for like 30 seconds. We don't need more than 30 seconds just for them to say, okay, what's there? No election, Yoruba nation now. I'm sure then, as a student, they will probably do a bit more check on it. As we speak right now, they've not taken it down. So that means, people are interested as well. But the problem is if we don't, and this is part of what I did when I went back to Nigeria in January. The first thing I requested was to roll out posters. And what I did was I put a number, and to be honest with us here, the amount of calls, apart from few individuals that thought we were promoting, maybe they were looking for a job vacancy. You know how these things work. But I can tell you, the posters that we put out then before we stopped it, and I hope we can roll it out again as quickly as possible, so that we can send it to different parts of the community. So we are not there yet in terms of our message. We might think that everybody have heard about Yoruba Nation. Even those of us outside the country, so many people have not really understood it. There was a voice note that was sent to me from Saudi Arabia with one of our mothers there. And she was like, Taba máa pín, ṣé a máa kúrò lórí Nàìjíríà lọ sí ìlú míì ni? So again, these are the confusion that a lot of our people do not understand, that we are already on our land. We are only changing the name. We would have our own name, whatever we want to call it. We would have our own currency, our own economy, our own security operatives, and we have our own boundaries. These are areas that we need to start explaining to people, because the basic things is Ento Tiralesi, as an example, ni Kwara State. Tawana Pekwi, a máa wọ pé ibo lòun fẹ́ gbé ilẹ̀ yẹn lọ, ibo lòun fẹ́ gbé ilé yẹn lọ. We might think it's not, is not. I mean, this is somebody in Saudi Arabia, telling me that pé ṣé a máa ilé tóun ní ìlú òun ibo lòun máa gbé lọ nígbà tá a bá ti pín. So that still shows that we are not there yet. And as much as people might say, media is ṣiṣẹ́ tó dáa, we need more. We need more people to come on board. We need more people to be foot soldiers. And when I say foot soldier, does not mean we want them to go and carry AK-40. No. We're talking about foot soldiers that can get the message from market to market. I understand that we can't do as much because, again, they're clamping down. This is the part of the conversation. They clamp down on everybody. It's not just the media. We saw what happened, on the 3rd of July in Lagos State, which was the only state that we lost life of a young Yoruba girl, Jumoke Oyeleke, Kolonkoye Kotesafeferi. All the other states, even with the crowd, yes, we had some accident along the road, but there was no injury. There was nobody died apart from Lagos. Again, clamp down, and they're already doing that already as against next week Wednesday. So we are not there yet with our message. All we can do is every one of us, Tabatimba and family was so. Let's engage them. Let's tell them. They might not really understand the every details. And let's look at it as an example. BRICS exit. No, all these people don't understand what has happened. All they know is that if you're going to Spain now, the law has changed. If you want to travel to Paris now, the law has changed. As a driver, by the time you're getting into the EU country, they'll tell you to drop your sandwich because they don't believe in that sandwich anymore that is coming from UK. So the nitty-gritty is left to our expert. And like on the 31st of October, we're having those that will be discussing about the proposed constitution. It's not the constitution that we're going to be using. It's just a proposed one. So they're going to be discussing that with us, the audience. So we need those experts. And the expert who are on our media, not just my own platform, every platform. And somebody on a platform, says they were discussing, our late father, Bafemi Awolowo, and I was like, okay, would there be somebody to come and discuss about it because I don't know anything? And they were like, we expect you to know. And I'm thinking, okay, tell me about more. I might not know it to the person that have, can you vision about gong? Do we have somebody that can come and give us that vision? Because all I see now is I see all these politicians putting on his hat and his glasses, pretending to be like him. And our people, as we speak today, basic primary school is not working. Water system is not working. So yes, we have a big role, and that role is every one of us. Don't leave it to the media alone. It is every one of us if we really want to cross that hurdle. And tẹ́ bá rántí nígbà tí we were in secondary school, ẹ bá rí pé the last person tó bá gba baton yẹn, ariwo yẹn máa ń pọ̀ gan because a fẹ́ fún ní boost yẹn so that it can make it to the final stage. And we are already at the final stage. Whatever anybody thinks or believes, Yoruba Nation will cross that hurdle, and we're already working towards it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can I just say something? Thank you, Mr. Olayomi. I always make fun of you that your Yoruba is almost as bad as mine, but today you are on a comfortable floor to speak English throughout, because we have Igbos here, we have Edo people here, we have people from Middle Belt. So please, no need. I mean, I love our language and everything, but no need to feel like you have to speak Yoruba throughout, because some of our Igbo guests are wondering, what's the translation of what he just said? So
okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, my sister. Thank you.
I'll give you back the floor.
Thank you very much, my honorable comrade Adedoyin, even though you like us to call you Mrs. Adedoyin. Let's have Dotimi talk to us. Before Dotimi, let's Google has a question for Olayomi Koiki. After that question, then we'll let Dotimi go. Google, over to you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Mr. Koiko, for coming, and the exposition that you just gave. I mean, it just helps people like me who are really not comprehending how bad things are to understand the extent of pushback that we get from our current government. And I think a couple of what you've pointed out, people have also discussed on this platform, but it was so refreshing to see someone else actually echo the same things that we've been saying, and I have been hearing, not exactly me been saying, but also it just opens my eye to a whole lot of things that are going on back home. And thank you so much for taking your time to do that. Now, when you spoke, you said about how the media have been told not to use the word terrorist. So Fulanese, and very rightly so, because recently I would read papers and I would see them using certain words to describe what's happening, and you hear things like gunmen, people being killed by gunmen, or all of this very subtle way of calling these people out, and they're turning it down. Now, my question is, what happens to independent media platforms? Are they also controlled by the current government? Or if, say, they reported something, would they be called out for it, even though it's part of their job to report the news as it is? And are there no bodies that they can report this to? So big organizations there, like the CNNs and the rest of the bigger media platforms, that they can go to and say, listen, this is what is happening to our journalism. How can we fix this? And how can we make sure that the Nigerian government allows you to report news to people like me, unadulterated, so that I'm reading what's actually happening? I mean, these days we don't believe our newspapers. Vanguard newspaper says something else. The other one says another thing. And the killing that happened in Imo State, you read 3 different newspapers and 3 of them will say absolutely different things, regardless of the fact that there was a video that clearly showed this killing, and we heard clearly a military man saying, kill anybody you see, but nobody actually focused on that and called that out and say, how can you ask to open fire to anybody on the street? Besides the people that you actually came to help, you're opening fire back to them. So it's this kind of things that really worries me about how far we're missing the actual killings of people that are happening on ground. How do you think maybe seeking help or someone
Complete solidarity.
otherwise reflecting? Well, please mute your mics. Dr. Me, I think it's you. So how can this be redeemed? Because this will always be the case, whether it be, say, we had a town crier telling a story at the marketplace. How do we make sure that if he's telling the right story, that people don't stop him because they don't want to hear what he's saying? How do you think that will work? I know it's a hard question for you to talk about. I hope you're able to throw more light on that in terms of independent reporting and seeking help from bigger platforms to complain about these things and call the attention to the ill of the clampdown of people's voices and the media. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my sister. And I say once again, I do appreciate all the time, seconds that I'm spending in this conversation. I'm going to play a 43 seconds video. You're going to hear the audio. Please, if you don't hear that audio, do let me know. And the video goes like this.
Complete solidarity against this outrage against what happened in Paris. Vis-a-vis what we see in Nigeria, which is truly not, it should not be surprising. Look, what's happening in Nigeria is barbarous. It's horrible. I mean, it's complete madness, yet it's not a priority. The United States unilaterally could do almost anything it needs to do. It would be a long-term effort, but it could be done. The United States has the capability. All the elements of power, we have those.
So why not?
Complete, it's not a priority. That's the problem. We are committed elsewhere in the world. Black West Africa is not a priority. Very stark, very hard to say, but that's the case right now.
Very hard to say, very hard to swallow. This was on CNN this year. And that, for so many people that are just watching that video, I've been using it for the last couple of days on my program, is like, I'm not shocked. I mean, yes, you talk about the investigative journalism. I think CNN did, something different that most of our brown envelope, journalists do in Nigeria during the NSAS. They were able to use the satellite image. They were able to give us a background of the weapon that was used in terms of the bullet when it was manufactured. These are going a little bit, into these kind of investigative journalism. Um, I've read the conflict jihadis. Even a lot of people are also now criticizing that these are not authentic. But the question is, do we still have independent, good journalists at home? And the question you did ask is, who do we report to? We probably want to report to, CNN. I won't report to BBC. They're very biased. CNN bias again. We look at them as a big player. They have the platform. They have the template. So yes, we have dedicated journalists that are putting their lives at stake in Nigeria today. Even in the midst of everything that is happening, and they're still speaking. But the question is, their numbers is not as big as the kind of message that would travel faster in a bigger platform. If BBC Yoruba goes live now, 1 million people wants to hear what they're saying. But probably somebody like Omoluka in Ondo State goes live, probably about 1,000 people watching it. So you can see the balance there. So it's very, very difficult because again, as much as we know that independent journalists that are working out, like I said to you, I know what I saw when I went to cover that as an observer during that election. But even if I put out my report, which I did, I was doing a lot of broadcasting on the ground and what I witnessed and what I saw. But would anybody believe me then? Maybe now that people say, "Oh, okay, you're fighting for a cause that we believe in." Not that they didn't know that I was also fighting for a cause, to say that when I was going to Nigeria as far back as 2015, I was visiting hospitals, I was going different places, bringing out this, crimes against humanity out. There's a young girl, she's on Instagram now, she's doing very well for herself, and I can only appreciate her. She had this injury on her hand, she was sent to India, and I remember when I told her to come around, she was shocked because she couldn't believe that somebody coming from UK wants to do an interview with her. Because do you know that even when I wanted to do interview in Nigeria, I have to pay 30,000 naira for them to bring me on air. So these are issues that Nigerians are facing every day. So all I can say is we have those people there. We talked about Delegiwa. He was killed at 39 years old. He didn't even achieve, well, we say he achieved, but would have loved him to be around us now. Age 39, he was taken away. I'm 40 plus. So these were independent, journalists doing, and we still have them. I'm trying to remember, and I spoke to him last week, Wednesday. Another very big, uncle that is still in Nigeria, and he said 1,000 years from today, you can't change the mindset of Fulanis. I remember his name. But again, do everybody believe him? No. Until Fulani started, visiting us in our villages, in our town, and making life miserable for us. So, not that we don't have them, they are there. But it's just that nobody, believes in them. But we can continue to push it. Uh, and Mr. Chief Adeni, a very eloquent man that speaks all the time on the radio in Nigeria. So the independent, then the question then is, who do we report to? We probably want to report to ICC. and then they'll come down and or Amnesty International that the government even doesn't agree with some of their reports. Amnesty International is in Nigeria, but the government disagree with some of their reports on the killings, just like you said. I saw that video as well. I will expect journalists to travel to that town and find out what happened after the military left or they're still there. But it is now left to me with the little information coming out. And like I said earlier, like our hater, Dr. Lukemi Olunoyo says, news is underreported in Nigeria. A young girl that is defiled. We want to know what happened before it got there. But news just headline. It's just about the headline. And the moment the headline is gone, nobody goes back to ask those questions. The repentant Boko Haram, where have they been living? Who knows? And I was saying that on my program just only yesterday, that some of them some of their women will probably find themselves in the southwest, and some of our men will look at them and like, wow, they're so beautiful. They probably marry them, and probably marrying a terrorist wife that have killed so many of our people, because nobody is able to track them to find out who they are. If a crime, I'm sure some of us have been seeing the sad news coming out of UK today. A member of parliament was stabbed to death in UK in 21st century. It's happening. But the question now is they will find out who are the friends, what pub was this guy going? He's only 25. This happened today in UK. And that was the longest member of parliament that was killed. So again, it's all about the pressure and the clampdown. We still have those brilliant journalists there, but we just have to continue to encourage them as well. Some of them are living in hiding, but again, we must encourage them, especially some of us that are outside the country. That can speak without any fear. Even though people might say, "Oh, be careful where you go," because we do know that in 1984, even though Umaru Diko was a thief, but Buhari wanted to take him out of the UK, and they almost did so. If not, the time was not there for them. He was going to be cut away, locked into an aircraft and taken back to Nigeria. So, and they can still do any of such in 21st century, even though we know that things have changed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, comrade. A quick recess. This is Masis, and as we all know, the topic for today is media clampdown, all mark of tyrannical feudalism. So we want to look at it from a different perspective. Well, before we go there, if you're not following the room, you can look on top the green icon, click on it, and follow the room. You can follow the speakers as well, so you get notifications when we have issues and topics like this to discuss. Now we have Dotimi here. We want him to also give us a quick guide from a legal angle. Dotimi, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you very much.
You can have the floor.
Thank you. Quite an interesting topic because it is something that we all should aspire to have in our society. The media should be free to report, because the media is one organization, the fourth arm in the realm that builds citizenry, get them informed, and also ensure that things are done properly. But it will sound like in Nigeria, these are more like ideals, because the media, with due respect to all of us here, and especially our brother, the chief speaker this night, is that the media has had some very challenging times. Some are self-inflicted and some are external. Let me say that, first thing first, the Nigerian media is ranked as the 120th when to do, and a lot is expected from us as media practitioners. Looking at the Constitution of Nigeria as amended 1999 Constitution, Section 39(1) gives power to the media. It generates this power from there. It's a constitutional thing. However, we see the media, due to some external influence, because let me use a parable that is common with us in Nigeria. Now the rat, when it is inside house, then they invite the rat when it's outside, come and chop. The media has to do its own housekeeping and self-cleansing. If you don't dress well, they will address you in that capacity that you present yourself. Now, the fundamental objectives and the principles of state policies, which of course is the chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution. Everything that is provided there in that chapter are not justiciable. But from pronouncement in the court intended to give the powers to the press, the media, to be the ones to watch, to monitor and ensure that governments, whether from the center or from the region, from the states, are in conformity or complies with the Constitution, or are carrying out functions, responsibilities as provided in the Constitution, Section 15. So when you put all these together, the Constitution has tied my hands that I cannot go to court to challenge a non-performing governor or a non-performing president. The Constitution says I cannot. It's protected. They'll tell you, give you all kinds of excuses. But the courts, from decided cases, had given that responsibility to the press. And I know some years back, there was a press roadshow to go and inspect projects. You know all these ones, they were just done for the sake of it all. So the press had been failing in its responsibility to ensure that governments, whether local, state, or federal, comply with the provisions of the Constitution. Hello? Continue, sir. Am I? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay. So the courts had given the press, the media, that leeway, that window to monitor and ensure and report to the citizen. So you are now giving the authority, the powers to say, hey, Mr. Governor, Mr. President, you had said this, but you are not doing it. You are not taking care of the welfare. Which of us should be welfare and security should be the paramount thing that you should be taking care of, and you should be concerned about. Because I cannot, as a citizen, go to court to contest that with any state or with the federal government. My hands have been tied. But the press has that as a responsibility to do. As the media performed above average when it comes to that. Regrettably, I have a very, very conservative mark to give. I will score them below average. Because, like I said, if the rat inside does not go outside, invite the outside rat, of course, it will not have a way inside. The media has to move inward to correct itself and to live up to expectation. Number two, if not for social media of today, I wonder how well would we have reported the issues in Nigeria to the outside world or even for us now to be talking, it is as a result of the platform that social media has given to us. But the media in Nigeria have been sleeping. With due respect, I have my reason. I've been sleeping, and so the citizenry, they are taken for granted by the state, and the media is supposed to be the eyes of the people, challenging and putting them on their toes. There was a time that the media had performed that very well. The media brought Babangida into power. It was the same media that gave him the boot, because they were also very strong in the campaign. The media was also used to pull down Jonathan. They were very strong at that. The media was also used to bring in the government of today, the national government. But what is the media doing today to correct that? It kind of has reneged. It kind of has gone back to the shell. And so, it is what you get, what you give, that is what you get. It's what you take, and that's what you give. We have had occasions, and thank God that it has been mentioned, where we have been featured, even in world media, as brown envelope people. People collect brown envelope. And such that the traditional or trendy, or what I call it, today's responsibility of media, they have not fulfilled that. And as such, we dance to the tune, we align with our proprietors. If our proprietors say, this is the way you should go, this is the way you must report. And so, you do not have the leeway, or you have the platform to speak otherwise. Forgetting one fact, that you stand under section 939(1) of the Nigerian Constitution. And secondly, too, you can also enforce your right under the freedom of information and get information and work with it. If not for the fact that our brother is not in Nigeria, I wonder whether we would have known anything about the Pandora papers. Investigative journalism is lacking in Nigeria. I don't want to say otherwise. This is us. We take what we get. So, if the government says, hey, we all of us will dance that way, hey, I'm afraid to report. If we come out to say, this is the way, media, can you take it? They say, no, don't want media house. We want to report that incident. Under reporting, not reporting, they also dance to the tune of the state actors, leaving behind the over 100 million Nigerians, but dancing just to satisfy just a few, the governors, local government chairman, and the presidency, the ministers. Look at what is happening. If you go to a particular ministry, for example, you see a retinue of pressmen. The media is there. They all jump into a bus when the minister is moving. All they want to do is to report activities of the minister. And as such, you find out that reporting is what? Bias. Very, very biased. Because they are tainted by what the minister or what the brown enveloper, what he says. This is the truth, and this is what is happening in Nigeria. And as such, we have issues. So when the government will come out, it's divided into two now, because we have media that report for states and we have media houses for the national. And that is why, for example, the national can come up with the NCC Act to say that if you don't report according to this line, you will be gagged. And thank God the last one, where they tried to gag channel. I don't have issues, and they're not my favorite, but nevertheless, I respect them. But when channels came up, and they said they made some, when they featured our retired naval captain, when he spoke concerning security issues in Nigeria, and they invited them to come. Well, we all went to the streets, and we're talking on social media. But nevertheless, is that what is the philosophy of channels? Who do they report? And what do they report? If you look at the way CNN, of course, which of course is something that we all are prepared to. CNN also was one of those that brought down Donald Trump's government. It was strong and had a character, and it provided facts that you can contest. And if you have it, you can come on. CBS also came up with that one. But nevertheless, my point is this, is that the Nigerian press had not lived up to expectation, and as such, because it is divided between the states reporting and also for the national, then of course the federal government through the NCC can do whatever they like, because we're operating a fraudulent constitution, we're operating a fraudulent democracy that is more or less a unitary system of government in which the center can always dictate and tell you what to happen. But in a place, in other climes, and we always point to America, you can't tell the press what to say. You can't shut them up. The press rather will pull you down. And that was what Donald Trump started. The first day he assumed office, when he was going to the White House, from where he was celebrated as one, going to White House, when he reported certain things about CNN, from that day, he saw the other side of CNN. And facts were coming out. It was a war. Can we do that in Nigeria? But we complain that we have been gagged. Why would they gag us when we sold ourselves to them? We sold ourselves to the public sector, to the public actors, to the politicians. We dance. We go and celebrate them. We only report their news. Tune into the news today and see what they say. Mr. President said this. Every other thing will follow that line. Mr. Governor said this. Everything will follow that line. Nothing else. You underreport what is how this military is oppressing the people. You underreport it because you are afraid. If you are afraid, then you shouldn't have come out to do journalism. You shouldn't take up that cross. And that is why people like Dele Giwa, whether we like it or not, the story, whichever the story, but he died in active service. He was eliminated. So why can't we put our chest forward to take the bullet? And that is a challenge for the press. We are gagged, yes, because we gave them that yardstick upon which we are being gagged. Because we opened up to them. Because we sold our conscience to them. And so who pays the piper, dictates the tone. They tell us what to write. Until we wake up from our slumber, until we wake up to our responsibility that the press is as powerful as the National Assembly. The press can pull down the National Assembly. We may not have too many persons that are reading, but if the press takes off its responsibility, can do and undo. And that is the other side of it all, that if you don't check, if the press is not responsible and professional, it can just go on the frolic. And that is why, with due respect again to my media practitioners, some of us beat our chest, journalists, media practitioners, they beat their chest, I will bring you down. Because you can quickly go to the press and write stories just to bring you down. That is not journalism. That is not what it should be practiced. And these are the things that are giving room to the government, to the state actors, to want to gag us. As I join those that will say, enough is enough. We must live according to our professional ethics. We must be the ones to bring out the ills of government. We must bring the ones that will bring out the ills of society and educate and inform the citizenry so that they can be properly informed. Elections are coming. We'll see what the press will do. We'll see the press. You dance to where the money is. Elections are coming. Next year, we'll begin to see them. They're beginning to show their colors. After elections, everybody will run back to government houses and ministers and residences, provided and paid. That is not journalism. That is not what the media should be like. If you continue that way, they see you finish. And when they see you finish, they see the color of your boxers. Yeah, you become a nobody. I've seen where pressmen are carried just anyhow. They call them and bullshit them. Drive them out of the place. Because, now tell me, if you have stood on your grounds and made very, very powerful reportage of the truth, they will come and they will look after you. But then, you know that you have done something like a Pandora box. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dotumi, Professor Dotumi. Quick research. This is Masses again. The topic for today is media clampdown, and we'll be having Mr. Felix talk to us briefly about what Masses is all about and what we stand for. Mr. Felix, are you there?
Hello, Mr. Paul. Hello.
Yes, go on. We can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for giving me the floor again. But I would like to contribute to the discussion about the media in Nigeria, and I will support Mr. Dotumi a little bit on the fundamental issue of integrity and ignorance when we look at the media in Nigeria. I think someone has spoken a lot about the 2015 presidential election and the role that media play. I think I was referring to the question from Adedoyin. Now, it was unfortunate that somebody like the current president could be promoted in Nigeria as a man of integrity that was coming to power to fight corruption. We can see that if we have integrity in the media, that won't be possible or extremely difficult. But when you look at the history of the current president, in terms of the government he has been part of and his antecedents, the odds against him were just too much. And you wonder, how can someone with such a history or record be projected or presented to the people as a man of integrity that will fight corruption? So, but the first question we'll be asking ourselves, the media that are writing this stuff for the politicians or that are being used by the politicians, do they have integrity themselves? Because I can mention a few things. The current president was part of the Sani Abacha regime. It was a regime that came out basically by fraud. We've had a president-elect when Sani Abacha took over power. And also, to get more evidence, I think in 1997, 1998, Nigeria was in 1997 was the most corrupt country in the world by corruption perception index. Then the following year, Nigeria moved to the second most corrupt country in the world, 1998. So this current president was in the government, reporting directly to the head of state. And in 2008, 10th year anniversary of Sani Abacha, the current president was in Kano, first and foremost, celebrating Abacha. That is a man that was facing trial, that was accused of taking about $5 billion from Nigeria economy. And as at 2008, at least $1 billion has been recovered from money looted by Sani Abacha. And the current president in that 10-year anniversary made a statement that there was no evidence that Abacha stole money. Even apart from the fact that there were a series of allegations of corruption, we can mention two fundamental evidences. One was the corruption perception index, where Nigeria became the most corrupt nation in the world under Sani Abacha. And also the fact that at least $1 billion has been recovered from money looted by Sani Abacha. And a man went into Kano and said there was no evidence that that individual has stolen any money. And in 2011, this person was contesting, and in 2015, people said he's a man of integrity, we fight corruption. And also, if I can also take us back a bit, in 2007, the current president had Shuba Okadibo, Dr. Shuba Okadibo as his running mate. Now, Shuba Okadibo was the pioneer Senate president of PDP in 1999. Now, he was impeached because of the scandal on the defeating car relating to corruption. I'm not trying to say that Shuba Okadibo was the most corrupt person in government, but I think the executive wanted to get rid of under Obasanjo. And his lifestyle, corrupt, as I can see it, made it very easy for the executive to quickly get rid of him. But to give a bit of confirmation to that, he was impeached while facing the allegation of corruption. And someone may ask, was he properly prosecuted in a law court? But also, the impeachment itself is a form of indictment. And the fact that he was not exonerated of that corruption he need to carry the stigma. And that was a man that this same president recruited as his running mate in 2007 to become Nigerian president. And this person became a candidate, promoted, projected as a man of integrity.
can see how horrible the Nigerian space has been. But we know we can also trace this to the chaotic nation where we call Nigeria. Is horrific. And also, if we look at the trend of events today, there are so many opportunities for the media to engage the government that you won't see that. There are so many opportunities. I can mention a few of them. If you look at there was a requirement for, this really touches me because it is very key to the economic problem facing Nigeria. In the Act of Parliament, there was a requirement to have a council for public procurement for Nigeria. The Council for Public Procurement supervises the BPP, which is the Bureau for Public Procurement. And that council is charged with supervisory role over BPP. And that council is also responsible for recruiting the Director General for the BPP. Now, the President, to date, has refused to constitute the Council for Public Procurement. You see, Nigeria Bar Association, I think either Nigerian Society of Engineers or Nigeria Institute of Commerce and Industries, the media, and a few other organizations were supposed to have representation in the Council for Public Procurement. Today, that council does not exist in Nigeria. And the President, who saw the right of that Council for Public Procurement by single-handedly, unconstitutionally, and unjustly appointed a Director General for BPP. And that is the arm, the unit of government that manage procurement. And when you destroy the procurement instrument of governance, you have destroyed the economy. But the Nigerian media just look away. So the issue of integrity and ignorance is so serious in the media space. And those are the things we need to challenge and we hope to change. Now, relating to masses, we need the media. And that is why this topic is very important. We need the media to help us. And I will just mention integrity and knowledge. We need integrity to address the integrity issue, the corruption where people just get the of the fact that this is our nation, this is our community. They should be writing, they should be working with an intention to build their nation, their community. Not just that we are just doing this. They should be seeing themselves as somebody in the forefront of building the society, of transforming the nation, and of helping to enthrone justice and fairness and rule of law. So that is quite important because they just think maybe they are just there to just do like a normal work, get your pay, get some money from politicians, and just move on. So they need to see themselves as an important part of the society that is very, very vital for the survival of the community. And in the aspect of masses, which is the Middle Belt and the South Security Summit, which is about bringing the stakeholders together to be able to speak in one voice and take proactive action. I don't know whether I should be using proactive because it's almost late, considering the level of damage and the thousands of people that have been killed already. We need to be able to speak and educate our people and also constructively engage the government in the South, in the Middle Belt, so that they can take this. I was listening to the speech made by the governor of Lagos State, the governor of Ondo State, and also El-Rufai. Insisting on state police. But this is not how to demand for state police. This is not how to demand for security, like for ability to set up state security that will protect the community. The revised committee put together a report on state police about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And that report, nothing has been done to it.
So when are we going to have the state police? Is it when Nigerians have been overrun and gone to Afghanistan? Is it when 20% of the people have been killed with starvation war that is ongoing with hunger? So when are you going to have the state police? So I do not expect the government. How are you insisting on it? When are you going to get it? When is your target date? So it's not just going to functions and be saying, we want state police. You need to be saying it with determination, with pursuit, with strategy, and with we need to stop killing. We need to stop the killing of our people. Without state police, killing is not going to stop. The federal police has failed and is completely incapable to protect our people. So if we do not have state police, we are guilty of blood. Anybody that is stopping state police is directly taking life of our citizens. That is the language the governors, the politicians are supposed to be using. But the media are supposed to take the lead in that. By now, the media should be able to help us to project that look, why is the killing taking place? Because the Amatekons are not allowed to be around. Amatekons are doing great job. And anybody stopping Amatekon to stopping the equipment of Amatekon to do this job is basically taking and abetting crime. And that's the language, the kind of communication that we bring to results. So we are using this opportunity to appeal to people. And now everybody is in the media space. Any forum, any opportunity you have to speak, let our people understand this. The only way to save Nigeria, particularly the Middle Belt and the Southern people, is for the states to take ownership of their state security. And anybody opposing that is an enemy of our people, is an enemy of the states, and is guilty of blood. And is that the end? Of course, we should be saying, because this is about life and death. We have to rise up as a state, not as an individual, as organization, to equip our people. We have that right. We have to pursue it, and we must get it done. So that is what masses is actually all about. In fact, that is the core of masses. How to get state. Look at what is happening now in Enugu, in Imo State, and you see all the confusion. You see unknown government. What is the meaning of unknown government? Who is killing who? But because the states are not taking ownership of their security, the Inspector General of Police is far away in Abuja, supervising 36 states of the Federation. So that is why we want everybody to join us with integrity, with the use of knowledge and use of strategy, and we take over the media space and we mobilize everyone, each organization, each individual behind masses, the Middle Belt and the South Security Summit. And our meeting, one of our key goals is to get to that point as soon as possible for the states to courageously recruit able men, adequate number of people, and arm them adequately to protect our community. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Felix. Mr. General, you're going to go. Let's have one of our fathers here, in the person of Mr. Chris Akimbade. Can you please talk to this topic briefly? Then after you would have Mr. General. So, Mr. Chris.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen in the house. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, my name is Chris Akimbade. And this is the first time I will actually join your live broadcast. And thank you for inviting me. This topic is actually important, media clampdown in Nigeria. And of course, we know the story. I want to thank the speakers before me. I want to thank Mr. Olayomi Koiki for the wonderful job he has done, and Mr. D and Mr. Felix. All of you have done exceedingly well. What I just want to say is very simple. The press in Nigeria, the media is supposed to be the fourth realm of governance. When you have the press, the executive, you have the judiciary, you have this other one, then you're supposed to have the press. as the fourth realm. That's why they call them the fourth realm, because they bring affairs that happen between the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. They bring it to the core so that people can see and people can know what is actually happening. So when the press fails, automatically the people of that country will not hear anything. And that is what exactly is happening in Nigeria. Press is failing. But if we trace the history, you see that the authority, the power that be, they actually knew what they were doing. And they planned everything to fail. Nigerian system is just that. Nigerian system is designed to make everything to fail. If you bring the best system in Canada where I am and you add American system, you take it to Nigeria, I can bet it with you. But in the next 6 months, they will fail. Because that's the system. And this system was built over time. And the system was based on illegality and frauds. And I know that anything you build on illegality is legal as well. It's going to fall sooner than later, like a pack of cards. And that's exactly what is happening. I'm not blaming the press anyway, because the press is just a replica or is reflective of the state. So if the press is bad, the people also will be affected. So that is number one thing I want us to know. Now, if we look at it again, you see, in Nigeria, they remove, I remember when I was young and I was in elementary school, there was a topic called, a subject called history. History was part of the curriculum. In history, in elementary history, you learn the story of Yoruba, the Igbos, the Hausas, and we're told there are 3 major tribes in Nigeria: Hausas, the Igbos, and the Yoruba. Though there are other tribes that are there. But nowhere was mentioned Fulani. Nowhere. But along the line, as I was growing up, I started hearing Hausa Fulani combination that way. Then, if everybody is observant, you see that these days nobody mentions Hausa again. Nobody. Now everybody is mentioning Fulani. So what has happened over the time? That is part of the history they are obliterating. They don't want us to know again. And when they remove history from the curriculum, it means they are just denying Nigerians very crucial aspects of our lives. When we don't know where we are coming from, obviously we won't know where we are. And if we don't know where we are, we can't know where we are going. We are going to just be directionless. That's just what is happening. And that's the exact situation in Nigeria. Part of the thing is that when we know the history, which the press is supposed to be part of the crusaders of history, Nigerian history. Let people know the indigenous people there. Let people know the people migrated to that place. If the press is deficient, the whole society is going to be deficient. That is just the whole thing. And I said everything is deliberately done. Now, if we are talking about this press, we need to know the owners of the press. All those people that establish media houses, who are they? From my experience or knowledge, most of these people that establish media houses are politicians. And some of them who are not politicians, they are government contractors. So you cannot expect a contractor who depends solely on government for his means to write something against that same government. And the same thing, the politicians. Whether they are the one in control of government or they are the one opposition, they can't write anything. Even if they have some courageous journalists in their folds, sooner than later, they are going to tell that journalist, and I believe that's what has happened, and say, look, are you the owner of this media house or me? You have to write what I want you to write. And that's another thing here. Then we also need to know that the press can be bought. The press can be bought. We have mentioned brown envelopes, which is common, which is a common occurrence in Nigeria. And we know that the press can also be intimidated. There was a clip that went viral the other day of Femi Fanikaude, when he addressed down a journalist for asking him a simple question. I do not see anything wrong in that question. But if you see the way that journalist was dressed down that day, it was really a shame. And only those things can only happen in Nigeria. That is just the honest truth. If it were to happen in Canada, that minister will be fired. Because the press will make sure that they will deal with that minister. So that even if he will be there, I'm even sure he can't be there again. Because it's an abuse. You are not allowed to abuse anybody here. You are not allowed to bully anybody. It's an offense. But look at the minister went away with that thing. That is part of the intimidation I'm talking about. The press can be intimidated in Nigeria, and they have been intimidated for so long. Coming to, so that I won't take much of our time. What do we need to do when we are here? Masses. You see, the security structure in a situation in Nigeria is so terrible. We just need to know. And one of the reasons the media is clamped down upon is that they don't want them to report what is happening. And I will say it here, what is exactly happening. And I know most of us will already know. What is happening is this. It's going back to history. In 1804, there was a man called Madam Fodio who came as a visitor to Nigeria. Nigeria was not in existence as a country. He came and he was received by one Hausa ruler. This man said he brought a pure religion. Islam was already there in that part of Nigeria. Then, as I said, there was no Nigeria as at that 1800. So everybody was still living on their own. This man came saying that he brought pure religion, pure Islam that was already existing. And the people accepted him. Sooner than later, he killed that king there. He appointed one of his own to be the ruler. And that's how Emirate began. They turned it to Emirate. And that's how gradually they went to kill all the noblemen, all the rulers in Hausa land. And instead, they were appointing the Fulanis to head the place. So as emirs. That's how you see emir in Kano, emir in Zaria, emir in everywhere. And that's how they took over the whole place. And there was this thing called jihad that happened. Jihad was just a simple way of forcing people to take Islam. So they were able to overpower the Hausas. Not in real war. It's not as if they fought some wars. No, but they just used some cunning ways to take over the whole place. Then what happened later? Some people resisted them. And those people that resisted them, they included people in the present-day Southern Kaduna. The people, there are some people we call Kanuris. From elementary history, Kanuris used to be very powerful warriors. They resisted Ottoman Danfodio. People in the present middle belt of Nigeria, they resisted Ottoman Danfodio. People in Benue, thieves, the Galas and all those people, they resisted. The Igbos never even gave an inch for Ottoman Danfodio to come in. They were able to penetrate some Yoruba land. There are some places there. That's why they were able to they used Vidian to come to Yoruba land. But now what happened? Ottoman Danfodio ended. These people right now, because the media is not reporting what they're supposed to report. Over time, since independence, we all know how they got independence, how the British manipulated everything and gave to them, how they inflated figures, how they arrived at this and that, and so on. Over time, in the course of 61 years, the Fulanis, they planned their strategy very well. And this is where I blame the other people. Because ignorance is never an excuse before God and man. We were just looking at these people. And they took over everything. Before, at independence, there were 3 regions. 2 regions needed to collaborate together to form a government at the center. There was no single region that could rule Nigeria at the center. That's why the North and the East, they form an alliance. And the Yorubas became an opposition. But look at what happened in the course of 60 years. The North now, they don't need any alliance with any part of the southern country or southern part of the country to rule. Over time, they created states. 19 states in the north, 17 states in the south. And each state is having 3 senators. Automatically, they've already gotten 57 senators coming from the north. Why the south has 51? When it comes to voting, there's no way 51 can win where 57 was. Look, over time, they created 774 local governments in Nigeria. And they did it that did on the basis of the local government, they go to the National Assembly. The north has far majority. The south has minority. So if election is coming, there's no way that the south can beat the north. Look, and it's on the basis of this local government that they distribute the money, resources. Automatically, the north that has more local government, they will get more money. That's how they are getting more money. That's how they are getting everything. All these things are supposed to be part of what people need to know. But nobody is reporting them for certain reasons, which part of it I've already mentioned. Now, as it is now, if we are not careful, the way it is now is that all these they are not happening by coincidence. Where the jihad, if we observe, you see that where the jihad ended long time ago, almost 200 years ago, that's where they have started. Exactly. That's where they have started. Those people that resisted them there, that's where they started. Look at the way they have killed all the southern Kaduna people. Look at the way they have killed all the Kanuris in Borno State. Look at the ways they are killing people in Plateau and Benue. Look at Niger. Look at Niger State. Niger State, from the report I had last, they said they have 500 communities that have been taken over by Boko Haram. And they have even installed their flags there. And they have even told the people that they must not pay taxes to government again. It's them they should pay taxes to. All these things are there. They are deliberate actions. And our press, as presently constituted, will not report all these things. But these are truth. So if we are looking like this and we are waiting for press to write, we are going to wait and we are all going to be killed. According to retired Lieutenant General Danjuma, if we keep on waiting for Nigerian press to be reporting all these things, all of us will be killed. Late Malafia, Obadiah Malafia warned us of all these things. That all these things have been planned and they are being executed. What is happening right now is full jihad. And the intention is that they want to take over the entire land in Nigeria. And that is the intention. If anybody is reporting something contrary, that person is just telling us lies. They brought in all these people. The governor of Kaduna told us a long time ago that he went to pay money to foreign people to secure his own people in Kaduna State. Look, you can imagine somebody going to pay money to another person in another country. When Nigeria has soldiers, Nigeria has the military, they have the Air Force, they have the Navy, they have everything. But one officer is going to pay money to a foreigner so that those people will not come and kill these people. Everybody can see now that money that he has gone to pay are the money that he has paid to bring all these mercenaries to this place. We can see everything. One official in the north also told us that they brought all these mercenaries so that they could win election. Okay, if you won the presidential election in 2015, why didn't you go back to your countries? Why did they give them guns to and bring all of them to our forest to start killing us? And our government doesn't know where they are. Up to today, they claim they don't know, but Sheikh Gumi knew and still knows where all these bandits, they call them bandits, but they are real terrorists. Yet government doesn't know where they are. I was reading one from one newspaper today. The chief of army staff said they cannot arrest Gumi because Gumi is doing his job. He's doing his job by locating all those bandits which the federal government and the military cannot locate. So who are they? Who is being deceived? Who is deceiving who? So coming to this question, we cannot wait for Nigerian press again because Nigerian press is already gagged. Even any of those journalists who has good intention to report, this report will never see the light of the day. They are not going to. Who is going to publish it when the owner doesn't want to publish anything against the government? So where do people go to? People are left on their own to search for the truth. And that's why social media is ready now, because what the Nigerian press cannot write, you can get it on the social media. All you just need to do is to go there. It may take some time, but you get there. So what are the challenges before us right now? And I just want to say, one of the things that we need to do in order to nip this problem that is coming on the board quickly, we need to collaborate together. We must compulsorily work together. We don't need to love ourselves, but there are causes for us to work together. And we must work together in unity. That is the way it is. So this organization, this body that is being formed, must meet the government. But I doubt if we are going to get any good thing from the government anyway, except they get to that point that they are being dragged. When I say government, I'm not talking about the federal government now. I'm talking about the state government and the local government. Because obviously the federal government is behind all this agenda. And there's no way they can make any correction. So we can still work with the state government for them to see, but I don't know if they will be interested. But we can still try. We need to work with stakeholders in the communities, in those states. We need to involve the youth, because the youth, from what I know that the youth in Nigeria, people between age 18 and 50, they are almost about 60% of the population. So the youth has a very important role to play in what we are doing, in safeguarding the situation. So that's another thing that we need to do. And as I said, we have to do it urgently and we have to do it timely. But in summarizing what I've been saying, I have lots to say, but this is not the time to say everything. I'm just talking about the media clampdown. The media will not report all these things that are happening. What is happening is that we saw in October 4, our federal government launched an operation in the Southeast. Everybody knows Southeast is not at war. Northeast and Northwest, that is at war. Federal government is not launching any operation. Middle Belt, that is very hot. Federal government is not taking soldiers there, because they know they've already killed most of the people that could resist them. And that is the thing. They are coming down south now to do the same thing that they have been doing all over the place. And that's why the people must be very careful. If we are not observant, if we just stay as unconcerned as we have been in the time past, a time is coming very soon that these people will overrun all of us, and it will be too late. What we just need to do is for us to collaborate together. Let's be vigilant. They're already in the Southeast, and I know they're already in the Southwest. By federal government launching soldiers and putting soldiers everywhere. They are happening. They are right now at Ibarapa as we are talking right now. They are in the Southeast and they are everywhere. So the youth, I don't know how the masses will do. You have a very busy schedule ahead of you. And what I'm just urging and appealing is that we need to work with all the stakeholders and get everything ready. If we don't do it fast, it's going to be too late. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chris. You have given us a very, very wonderful submission, and I believe we have all learned something. For those of us watching from the YouTube, and for those of us listening from Facebook Live, I believe we have all learned something today. And I'll be giving Mr. Diron the opportunity to also speak to us briefly. Mr. Diron, over to you. Mr. Diron, you there?
I don't think Mr. Diron.
Hello, Mr. Ola.
Yes, go on, Mr. Felix.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to thank our brother that just spoke. We appreciate you, your Mr. Akinbade. So what I just want to add as regards masses, we've made it clear that masses is a project. So it is not an isolated group. And that also defines the concept behind it.
it's something that we need, that collaboration like you have said. So we are inviting all the groups, because the concept and the objective of masses will definitely satisfy the expectation and the goal of every other group that wants one thing or the other that is good for our community. In fact, we are not excluding those that are like the conventional politicians, that their goal primarily is just how to win election in 2023. So whether we believe in that or not, we need that collaboration to set up the state security, to prepare for the challenge that is facing us and be able to combat it. So the politicians, the people that are asking for self-determinations, referendum, and those that felt they want Nigeria to remain together, whatsoever may be the aspiration, having state security meets our need, satisfy our demand, and it's good for everybody. So nobody wants to be killed. Nobody wants his neighbor or his family to be wiped out. We do not want our state to be turned to Zamfara in the south, and also in the middle belt like Plateau State, Benue State. We want the killing to stop. And the only way to stop killing in Plateau State is to allow the governor to recruit people and equip them to protect Plateau State. The same thing with Benue State. The only way to stop the killing in Benue State is for Benue people to be able to organize themselves, recruit people, train them, harm them, and let vigilantes work with the state security outfit or agency to protect the community. Then those people that have been displaced now, about 1 million people in Benue, they will return to their home. So please, we are appealing to all stakeholders. This is something that binds us together. So let's come together with these masses. It is not a group. It is not somebody's singular idea or singular project. It is a community project where we can, in one voice, say this is what we need. And I will still add this to this conversation. People can raise the issue about the pressure from the federal government and also the constitutional constraint pertaining to 1999 Constitution, where the IG has the right to issue licenses for firearms. We on the pressure from the federal government, we've seen the governor the sort of demonstrating some level of courage in the ban of open grazing. So that should be encouraging, and that should tell us that this thing we are saying is possible. Despite the opposition from the federal government, Benue State signed a law in 2018 and commenced the ban of open grazing. Just Benue State alone and Taraba. So if Benue and Taraba in 2018 can courageously ban open grazing, why can't the 17 states in the south be able to do that? And we've seen a couple of states boldly, courageously taking that step and moving forward with it. But one thing that is lacking now is that mass movement behind this idea. The mass movement will help those governors that appear to be doing the right thing to get more courage, to further, to go ahead. And the mass movement will also compel the compromised governors that are not doing the right thing to do it. By the time we begin to challenge them and have all the people coming together, speaking in one voice and saying, this is what we want. It's either you do it or you quit. So that should give us the sort of encouragement to push further. Now, if that is working currently for the ban of open grazing, to also get the state security help, it will also work. The River State, the governor has recruited a number of people some few years ago, and he said the effort was there was confrontation from the federal government, particularly the Nigerian army. But now we've done Amotekun in the southwest, but not yet equipped. So if these states are encouraged and supported and are compelled by mass movement, the entire state in the south will also be able to forge ahead. Now, if we need to address the constitutional issue, we are putting forward a request for what we call security referendum. And what that means is just opportunity for the southern states to vote. The governors have the ability to do this. They have the electoral body at the state level, and they have the right. And this state security referendum, that is not a referendum to secede. It's not a referendum to fight the federal government. It's just a referendum for people to give their voice to the state, to the government, how they want to be secure. What kind of institution do we need? Do we want our elected House of Assembly to put in place as a law, and also to be signed by the governor, and to be funded by the resources available at the state level? And such a referendum may just be a yes or no vote. Do you want a state government-sponsored security outfit that will be properly armed with a military-grade weapon to confront the terrorists that have invaded Nigeria? And we also ask, it's mandatory, like I mentioned a couple of them briefly. We know that Nigeria is the third most terrorized country in the world. We also recognize there are up to 4 or 5 terrorists operating in Nigeria. We also recognize that more than half of Nigerian farmers do not go to farm again across the south. We also know the level of inflation in Nigeria and starvation war because of the disruption of farming activity as a result of the influx of terrorists to Nigeria. And also, the whole world also know that the Nigerian police and military, they've not been able to stop kidnapping and killing of Nigeria. And also, we have a situation in Nigeria where the states have not been allowed to take ownership of security as a constituted authority. So, we put all this together in a mass movement, and we say this is what we want. And whether the religious group, ethnic nationality, socio-cultural organization, professional bodies, agitators, human rights activists, we all come together, youth and market women. We say in one voice, a clear representation of the entire community of the Middle Belt and South. This is what we want. And we also, when the referendum will be done across the South, if it becomes necessary, we have the international community to observe. So that is a strategy that will help us to lay the foundation for our freedom. And we need to do that as quick as possible. People have talked about clandestine operation of individual vigilante group, but we know that alone may not be able to secure the Middle Belt and the South, because those people will be disarmed, will be subdued by the force of the federal or the central government. Will be disarmed, the instruments, the weapons, the military men, they will not deploy against the bandits in the northwest. They will be deployed against vigilantes, even for having a game gun. That has happened in Plateau State, it has happened in Southern Kaduna, it has happened in Benue State. All those people, they've been disarmed since around 2016 today. And that is why it's so easy to penetrate their community and kill them and massacre them. So please, we are appealing to everyone, any way you can help. This is a clarion call. The blood of our people is on the line. Please, let's do our best so that we bring all stakeholders together. It is masses. It is not about Mr. A, Mr. B. It's not about Yoruba. It's not about Igbo. It's not about Niger Delta. It's about Middle Belt and Southern Nigeria. So God bless everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Felix, once again, for giving us that great submission. And yes, like the masses is a project for everyone. It's a project that we all need to key into. Our website will be up and live in the next 3 to 4 days. It's themassesproject.com. Themassesproject.com. And if you want to be a part of this project, we'll be dropping a link to our WhatsApp platform where you'll be getting updates and information regarding how this project will run. And then you can now decide what team you want to be a part of. We also have our weekly Zoom meetings on Sundays. That is 5 p.m. Nigerian time, where you can also key in and also we can have a discussion. There you can also as well tell us where you want participate because this is a project that we all need to be a part of. So I'm going to be bringing on Mr. Olayomi Koiki so that he can also address us. Mr. Olayomi Koiki will also be dropping the link to the WhatsApp platform for those that want to be a part of the project as well. So Mr. Olayomi Koiki, over to you.
Just let me know if you can hear me because I've paired the phone with the speaker so that the volume can go a little bit more from
You
those.
can increase the volume a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate all our fathers, uncles that spoke, in the last, few hours. I would just like to give feedback from all our audience that have been following us, and because media conversation like this is very very important. So that's probably what I might just do for the next couple of minutes. So let's just quickly pick at random some of what the listeners have been saying on the platforms, so that at least that also gives us a feedback, for the masses and myself and everyone that is watching. Um, According to Ibukun Ogunfeiti.
Salami, can you speak up a little bit?
Okay, 1 minute. Let me take it off from the speaker so that way there will be less interference.
Can you speak up a little bit, sir?
Yeah, okay. I think that's is because there's a speaker connector, so I've taken that off. Yes. So like I said, let me just quickly give some of those feedback from those that have been following us for like almost. I think we started just about 9 o'clock, so almost 3 hours now. According to Ibukun Ogunfeiti, the press must report accurate news without fear of favor whatsoever. We have also Freeman says the Nigerian media houses are owned by politicians, and I'm sure a lot of us are aware of that as well. Also, if Ibukun says, we thank everyone everywhere, and the media thanks to the panelists, so that means they're also happy, with every one of us that have been on the platform. James Lincoln on YouTube says Nigeria is not a nation, Nigeria is a scam. Oluremi Ogabi says, I was hell bent on renouncing my Nigerian nationality since 2011. So I'm going to take two more or three from the Facebook, then I might just give my own, feed as well into the conversation. We have Musba Lawal on Facebook says Yoruba Nation are not going back. We have Odua Muyiwa says the federal government of Nigeria approved one of the agenda of the Boko Haram through the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. Sharia law was approved in 13 states, and I'm sure again a lot of Nigerians were not aware that some states are practicing Sharia until when we started a lot of this conversation again. Lapses are around the media from not really going into those conversations, and that's why business in Kano, that you might want to do is not going to be allowed because of the Sharia law. So we take one more from the Facebook. Pastor Moore Adesina says things are falling apart in Nigeria. If Femi Adesina could be saying that Buhari is the best thing that they have in Nigeria, so I'm sure we all know who Femi Adesina is, a spokesman for the president. Yusuf Adekunle says the media are also scared of their pocket being dry for saying the truth, and that is probably where I will just come back and say, the way now say, just like Yusuf was saying that if the media are scared because of their pocket, then what happened to, somebody did mention the integrity, somebody did mention, the genuinity of a message, and the moment these messages get diluted before it gets to us, it becomes a problem. But we can only hope that we have the alternative, but we also have to remember that millions of our people, whether in the middle belt, in the southeast, the southwest, do not have access to these social media. But we can only hope that things will get better I mean, if you think about, the government locking Twitter, and I remember 3 weeks ago, I won't name the university because of the student there, where the police went there and started raiding each one of them, checking their mobile phones, and then saw that some of them were still using Twitter, and each one of them end up paying 50,000 naira. Again, these are the kind of atrocity. So it's not just, um, there's more to it in terms of, I mean, if you go to the hospitals, the negligence that is happening there, nobody's reporting it. You go to, the social care of, children that have been abandoned. Nobody's talking about it. We do see, I mean, few like, I mean, our brother that is doing his own little bit, Oriyomi Hamzat. But again, there's just so much to be done, and we can only hope that we will not back down and we will not relent. And we'll be more than happy with myself anytime I'm called back again to, even though I said, like when my uncle, I did say that, oh, I've not been feeling strong, but I just couldn't leave the platform because I was enjoying every bit of it. But I'll be more than welcome, happy rather, to be back again anytime we're called. And for those that are watching us, please let us remember Masses is just as many other platforms that are doing their best. And I'm sure when they're having their Zoom meeting, please let us participate, let us engage. It doesn't matter whether you're already in one group or organization. The most important thing is we need to now tell the real story of what is happening in Nigeria, that has been distorted for a very, very long time. And that is part of what we're doing at just about 5 minutes past midnight here in the UK. And the date now is now 16th of October 2021. Like I said, I tend to do that all the time. It's just for record purpose. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Mr. Dino, are you there now? All right, so we're going to round up now, but before we do, we'll probably take one last round of questions. Just 2 questions. Do you have any question? If you have any question, pass the mic. And then, okay, all right. So we have Chief and we have Uncle. So Chief, you go, then Uncle, you go after him. Chief.
Thank you so much for giving me the chance. First, Kilon, Shale, the Yorubas, and Kedu to the Igbos, and I'm sorry if I forgot the rest. The question I have is, where are the Hawasas on this conflict, and also the other Fulani nations, or nations that are led by Fulani men, such as Gambia, Senegal, and so on? Are they assisting in this nightmare of Nigeria, or are they silent partners? And the second question I have is, who owns the media in Nigeria besides the state-run media? Which ethnicity controls powerhouse media agencies in Nigeria? Those are the 2 questions I have. And another statement I want to make to my Nigerian brothers and sisters is, as Ethiopia is going through a nightmare, I want you guys to think as your prayers and be a partner and a learner, as you can see on my PTR. Before taking sides, we all need to educate each other on the plight we face, which happens to be the same, which is for a referendum of indigenous people and able to run their state and their resources. And thank you, brother, for giving me the opportunity.
All right, Olayomi Koiki, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'll try as much as I can. Thank you very much, our brother, for joining us. You talked about where are the Hausas, if I can pick up the question there, and then you also talked about the Fulanis from the other part or the region that are probably not within the country. What we know is categorically confirmed, all the 19 state governors currently in Nigeria are not Hausas, they're Fulanis, and they are very, very proud. So that means the Hausas have been uh, probably, let's say, shortchanged, or they've been uh, taken out of their own territory. Does not literally mean they are not in support. Maybe not every one of them, but statistically, we can say that part of them, majority of them, align more in that direction of the same Fulani that we are complaining about. So again, we haven't got the Aus. I mean, we have the Hausas, but they've been overrun. If you could understand what I'm trying to say, so we have, as an example, the governor of Kano State. That is a Fulani man. He has said this so many times. The question then is, what about the real Hausa? What has gone wrong? They've been taken off, from what belongs to them. Um, and they're preparing the next generation to take over from them. Most Hausas, I mean, we have about 13 million Nigerian children out of school. Majority are from the northern part of the country, but somebody like the governor of Kano State, that the son just graduated here in London just 3 weeks ago at about 43 million naira for just the university fee, without other bills that you might think of. So again, uh, the Fulanis that are outside Nigeria, what is their agenda? Are they really part of those that we are upset with? All I can say is that we are aware that they are looking for a new base, and Nigeria is a base that they believe they can come down and take control of the land, and that is why we believe that the time is up for us to all be separated, just as we were before 1914, and likewise as a country that was built in a fraudulent way. I mean, I was at the Lancaster House where there was a meeting that was held in 1957 and 1958, just a few meters away from Buckingham Palace. And we now find out that in 1959 the election was distorted, and there's no way we can win. We can win them because the British gave them the numbers that they are now using as an advantage against the remaining ethnic uh, groups in the country. Also, you talked about who owns, the media when we talk about, the country generally. A majority of people believe that the southwest part of the country, which is the Yoruba, tend to control the media. And when I say tend to control, that means we are much more of the media. But we do know that majority of the media, even though we have our independent media, apart from the social media that we are using now, is controlled by the politicians. But when we talk about media itself, it tends to be from the southwest part of the country. Also, yes, we do follow things around the globe. We talk about other areas where um, countries have divided, whether crisis is still ongoing or not. But we are learning, and it's a learning curve. But the most important thing is uh, the international community. Just like I did play that video clip. I'm not sure whether you were here with us when I played it. That says, we're not priority to them. But when you look at the situation currently in Afghanistan, you would think that the world will probably leave them alone so that they can solve, the mess, that they've decided to take control. I'm talking about the Taliban, but it's not the same. As we speak right now, Moscow will be hosting a meeting between the big player around the globe, America, China, and the rest. In the next couple of days, and what are they going to be discussing? How to save the humanity crisis left over in Afghanistan. So as much as a lot of people might be worried, yes, we do not pray for war. We don't, people think that when we talk, especially somebody like me on my platform, I talk about war all the time because I believe that is the only way we can opt out of this mess. So just to wind it back to the conversation, yes, every Fulani and the Hausa have the same ideology. And like Chief Tola Adeniyi, which was the name I was looking for previously, in one of his conversations, says 1,000 years from today, you can't change that mindset. And the question is, if I am the fourth generation, that means after 400 years of this generation, that I am the fourth in my family, another 600 years, we can still come into a round table with the same ideology, with the same people. So we must just say, hands off, enough is enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that answer. We have one more question. We're taking it from Uncle.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much. Actually, the question that I have two questions. So if you can permit me. Mr. Olayomi Koiki, thank you very much for all you do. I follow you. I follow KOIKIMEDIA on Twitter, and sometimes I watch your videos on YouTube, and I'm impressed. I'm grateful, and I appreciate how strong you stood with Sunday all the while, and I even see your demonstrations on the streets of London. So I wanted to ask, because I'm very aware that the French government, the French government, they have this strong grip, on their African francophone countries, and just like every other colonial power, they will want to resist every form of renaissance or resistance, by indigenous peoples, within their colonial territories. So it's about how they are taking this Sunday Igboho's issue, and what are the chances, what chances do Sunday Igboho have? Because I understand francophone countries very well, and I don't know if they are working behind the scenes in frustrating Sunday Igboho's release. So that is one question. Then two, I watched one of your press conferences. It was short and very concise, and in that video you were showing your solidarity with the Igbos, because I think that was around when the Nigerian Air Force started bombarding Olu. So you said that day, I think, how did you say it again? You said an attack on the Igbo is an attack on the Yoruba. So I just want you to shed some more light on that particular statement. The implication, of the statement, and for us to understand it a little better, like to what extent, what touches Igbo also touches the Yoruba. So if you can just shed a little light on these two issues. Thank you.
In terms of the ongoing situation in Benin Republic, one thing we need to understand is it doesn't matter how long injustice might be ongoing on our father Chief Sunday Igboho, we would eventually have his freedom for him because he hasn't committed any crime, and everybody knows that. Yes, we do know that politics is now involved in that case, and that is why it's dragging its feet. We still believe that, as much as you're quite right, Benin Republic is also francophone, colonized by France. But that doesn't mean that the bully country called Nigeria that is trying to bully them, to the corner, so that they can release him back to Nigeria. That is not going to happen, even though we know that we don't have any treaty between Nigeria and Benin Republic. But one thing we believe that as much as um less than 4 days from today, it will be 3 months that is spending, in the hands of Benin Republic without any evidence of any crime committed. And we believe that again, the country will respect the rule of law within their land, in his case. So that is all I can say on that. Yes, I do remember, that statement was released on behalf of my boss, Chief Sunday Guru, and myself when I released that statement. I mean, not even everybody was pleased with that statement, because as much as a lot of people have these negativity that we should allow the Biafra to be on their own and the Yorubas be on their own, unless everybody just fight this freedom separately. And I've said it since last year, and I'm going to repeat that again on this platform, that I have lived in the UK for over 2 decades, and I don't think I've lived here using the same constitution that we know is fraud of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If not, I would have gone into so many troubles living here. So when we finally get to our final destination, whoever wants to live on our land, whether they are Biafrans, whether they are from another countries, will have to respect whatever constitution that is laid out for us. Yes, we still stand shoulder to shoulder, with the Biafrans, whatever the situation in terms of the ongoing genocide. We talk about it, and it's not just talking about it. We are also, we do engage, between myself. I mean, I speak with Simon Ekpa quite a lot. So, yes, the most important thing is, do I come on a broadcast and just talk about atrocity in Ibarapa where soldiers have just moved in, and that news was coming in less than 72 hours when I was put in a meeting at a very late night, and then I'm sure some of us have listened to that audio. So was that not what is happening in the southeast? So a lot of our people believe that whatever is happening in the southeast wasn't coming down to the southwest. But now I think we all realize that yes, there might be disagreement of reason not to work together, but I believe that you want a freedom, we want a freedom, and we must stand shoulder to shoulder. And what they want to do is, again, divide and rule. Yes, we have issues in the past, which we cannot deny, but we are talking about a present genocide being committed, not just in the southeast, but it's coming down to the southwest anytime soon. And if we close our eyes and say we don't want to have anything to do with them, then eventually we're all really not being having that same, that again humanity concern. And prior to my being part of one of those campaigner for this actualization of the self-determination, I've always stand against crime against humanity. So then why should I look away when crime is being committed as we speak? I understand a lot of people believe that Mazen Amdekano has abused a lot of Yorubas and all that, and that is probably maybe why some of our Yoruba brothers and sisters do not agree. And some say, and there's another word that a lot of us use, which I've tried to continue to say, look, and that is because the Nigerian government, which is a Fulani government that I believe we shouldn't believe anything coming out of their mouth, says that IPOB is a terrorist organization, and I just laugh. And if anybody today believes that because that's the reason why we should not, align or work or do anything, with the Biafrans, because the federal government, a Fulani government, a government that has killed not just the middle belt, that has created havoc as we speak right now, then we are not serious about what we're fighting for. So I don't believe that they are a terrorist organization. The international community does not believe that. And I was reading a report. I got to look at that. One of the print media in America that even came out and say, IPOB is not a terrorist organization. So the terrorist in the country is the one terrorizing Nigerians that the Buhari government, let's look at it, Senate, I think it's almost a week ago, if not 2 weeks, have requested this same government to label them as terrorists, but they've just closed their eyes as if nothing is happening. So again, yes, uh, we have issues in the past, we can't deny that, but presently we are fighting a monster, and we must not allow divide and rule to come in between us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. So we're rounding up shortly. But before then, I know Mrs. doing a question. After we get a question, we will not leave without having to hear our wonderful speaker here. Her name is Gogo. She will be the one to wrap up. But before we close the room, so Ms. Adedoyin asks your question. Ms. Koiki will answer your question. Then Ms. Gogo, you can then give us that, the way you always talk about masses in talking about the rally in the room. So Ms. Adedoyin, ask your question.
Okay, I just, again, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you. So my question is, with the project that we're doing, Masses Project, we that are not in the media are not gagged, right? So what can we do to do your job, the kind of job you do as a journalist, to get the word out there? And we're not going to let you go without telling us what you feel about this project, and how can you assist us in spreading the word and getting people to know about the Masses Project, to secure our land and to secure our people. So your thoughts on our project?
Thank you very much, my sister. It is I think
Yeah,
one
Ms.
of.
Koiki.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I didn't realize the mic was muted. Yeah, thank you very much, my sister. I think the Masses Project is just so many opportunity that a lot of our people are waiting for. I spent 7 months. I've never spent that amount of time in Nigeria, and going home in January for that period of time. I could tell you that the masses are waiting. So it's a project that we need to key in with all other different groups that is out there, so that the collaboration can work. In terms of what we can do, it's not just about me, it's about all other medias that we need to also approach, so that it becomes, because we all have different platforms, so that the message can be disseminated properly across, not just in Nigeria, but for those diaspora outside as well. What can we do? Is to create this kind of awareness once in a month, twice in a month. Let us have this conversation. I mean, the numbers haven't dropped since we started 3 hours ago. Even though I'm not showing my face, we're just. I mean, this is. I hardly do broadcasts without having my face on. I've just got a flat screen. I mean, a picture of masses, sea bug, flyers, and a couple of background pictures, and the numbers is still where we started, hasn't dropped. So that means uh, we have already engaged some new audience that will key in to what you have already started in that little confinement that have now become big outside. What we can do more is just continue awareness. That is why we come out every day. That is why we continue to do what we can do. And I'm sure uh, my platform, like I said at the beginning of this movement last year, has now been dedicated fully towards the actualization of our movement. We've already dropped other few things that we were doing in the past, and we're here for you anytime when we are called. Even though I know you've tried to get hold of me for a couple of weeks until I finally get in. But I'm sure we have a lot to do for the future of a new nation that we're all fighting for. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Ms. Gogo.
Thank you so much, Blaze. You said your name is Balogun. Thank you so much, Balogun, for holding forth. Thank you so much, cool. Sorry, I had to go back. Koiki. Sorry, I just murdered your name, but I heard you say it nicely before. Koiki, thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for the information that you brought to us and for the great work that you're doing on ground. I believe Felix have told us a lot about the Masses project. So just to throw more light to it and what actually we'll be doing on ground and why we need all hands on deck to get this project out. You must have heard the immediate need to secure our people, which is, it is part of all of this process. And it's a project that would bring together, whether it be people that are clamoring for one Nigeria or people that want to be self-determined. And eventually is a project that will would help with actualizing self-determination if everything does go well for the cause. But it's something that anybody can key in. I think that's the message I'm trying to drive at. And why would everybody easily should key into this project? Because we can all see the writing on the wall. There is genocide happening in Nigeria, and that needs to stop even before we get a referendum to move out of the contraction. Before anything happens, people need to live life first, which becomes very immediate that we need to act now about the killings that are happening. Otherwise, we may go back to an empty village that have been renamed and taken over if we don't do anything. And that's the idea that brings us to having a summit. So the Masters here we would have had stands for Middle Belt and South Security Summit. And it is geared towards securing our land. So it's a summit that is challenging the current security system, which has failed woefully, not even in the failing point. So, I'll just bring our attention again to the two asks, because the Nigerian government are so shallow-minded. So if you ask too much, they'll get carried away. But this is just specifically asking for two things. The whole of the South is uniting to have a big summit to ask the Nigerian government to effectively, or ask our southern governors to start with, to effectively ban open grazing. And when we use the word, I want to bring the key word for me there is to effectively, not on paper, but in reality, ban open grazing. And the banning means it becomes illegal if you come through my land. I can take you to court and you can be sued for that crossing the boundary. So we bring them to that point where we're asking that they show us and carry out what they are promising, not just writing on paper. Effectively ban open grazing. And the idea is the summit will be echoing to the governors. It's not one governor bans and the other governor is relaxed about it. It's the whole of the South as a group. No more open grazing for every state in the southern region. And the second thing is to equip our security bodies. So all our state security agencies should be equipped properly to protect the land. Say, for example, the Amotekos, the ESN, and all the people that protect our regions, is to equip them with what they need. So we're asking the governors, equip these people what they need to actually fight back. Because you can't have people killing us every day and we're not protected, we're not defending ourselves, and we have the right to self-defense. So it's bringing that on the table. And the idea is, rather than go on the streets to protest, which we know that what happens with, and the risk associated with that is that you're likely to be shot at, which we've seen happen. You're likely to be called hoodlums, which we've seen happen. It's now bringing that protest to a room. So in a room, a whole lot of people, it's just like what we're doing today, Koiki, is this is going on live. So in a room, we're protesting and calling out all of these things, but it will be aired live across the world. So somebody, even in the UK, will be watching that summit happening live in Nigeria. The UN can tune in and be watching that same summit happening live in Nigeria. So it's a big deal. It's time for us, for all of us as you, to come together. You don't have to be in well. That same summit can air me from the UK, giving my own voice and saying, this is why I think you should stop this in the nicest way possible. And we would watch and see whether they will come against anything that is being said, because it's a collaboration. And also we're intending for all groups to come together. So the Ninas have been contacted to say, we need to collaborate to bring this to happen. So imagine in a big room summit, there's a Nina's representative, and we've spoken to Professor Banji, and he was very excited about it. So he's all of those key stakeholders whose voices are big in the movement are all saying this. The Yoruba nation will be there, the Igbo nation will be there, and everybody, the Middle Belt will be there, the Niger Delta will be there, and everybody's representatives, the farmers will be there, the market women representative will be there, the youth will be there, everybody will be in that room, a massive room, and everybody will come out and say the same thing to their state government. We will drive the message down and allow them to enact this ask that we're asking and take action now, because we need to save the land now. I think that summarizes it for me, and I'm glad we have a platform like the Clubhouse where we can come and have a discuss, and people can bring in their ideas and how they want to participate in the project. And also there's works behind the scenes for anybody that wants to come on board to get registered on our website. We'll soon be giving an update about that. I think Blaze will be telling us where they are with the website and everything that we're planning behind the scene. But I think from our meetings and our recent meetings, even with Professor Banji, that it's a big thing coming, and it needs to happen as soon as possible, because if we get hold of that, then everything can follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bob, do you want to pitch in a little bit? A few minutes?
Yes, really just to thank Mr. Koiki for coming, and all the speakers today, and all the participants. Thank you very much for your contribution to this discussion. Once again, I would just like to encourage all of us to remember that we have these Zoom meetings on Sunday, 5 o'clock Nigerian time, and please join us. You can also join our WhatsApp group and the Telegram as well. So please connect with us and keep in touch. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bob. I believe we've had a great time here, and it's been wonderful. And we've all learned one thing or the other. I remain your loyal servant, Balokun Olablaze. Please follow Olayomi Koiki. Follow the room. You would see the icon that says Masses, Sable, and Severus. Click on the green icon and follow the room, and follow the moderators as well. So we have great talks like this. You will be notified and given the opportunity to come and listen and also share your experience. Thank you once again for giving us this platform. Thank you for being a part of this program. We will be rounding up in the next 10 seconds, like I would say. So I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, for granting this interview. We really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
And we want to say thank you for the great things that you've been doing in the media space.
Thank you.
And also thank every one of us that have been able to be here, right from Dr. Ayodeji. Thank you very much, Dr. Ayodeji, for taking our time to be here. We appreciate you. and we love you. As well as Mr. Felix, he's a great man, and we also respect him. And although Mr. Chris is not here, we also want to say thank you, Mr. Chris, for coming to share that great teachings with us as well. We appreciate everyone from the audience, followed by the speakers, and all those in the audience by the room, everyone in the audience. We also thank those listening to us from YouTube and those listening to us from Facebook, as well as other social media platforms. We want to say thank you, and may God bless everyone. Thank you once again. I'm going to end with the masses. The masses. We have a video. It's a 2-minute video. I'm going to quickly play it so we can all listen to it. Stay tuned. As our Fulani men, terrorists and military from all over Africa continue to occupy the wide and large forests surrounding our cities, towns, and villages, carefully and covertly into various platforms. We cannot continue to close our eyes to the impending massive invasion waiting to happen. For the first time in recent history, we are calling on all the citizens of the South and Middle Belt to let us converge in a massive mega summit we call Massive Middle Belt and South Security Summit. It's an involved mutual convergence of every patriot, one association with humane and honest minds that have the clout to speak out against the killings and the horrors across our world's peaceful and peaceful region. Let us be out with one voice and support our brothers. Let's come together and demand from our speech and put security of lives and property. Let's speak with a resounding, resolute voice against Ruga and other land distribution agenda. Let's demand that each state commences state-owned and state-run branches for animal husbandry, which will in return provide jobs and teaming unemployed graduates roaming the streets. Let's issue jointly signed communique to all houses of assembly and governors to enact laws for better equipment of all state security agents. Together, South and Middle Belt, all doctors, all farmers, all market women, all students, all engineers, all scientists, all youth, all social cultural groups, all self-determination groups, all professional bodies, all accent association, all and sundry, full representation of all humanity across all walks of life. No one is left out. Even our children must be represented. We speak with such boldness that even the roar of the lion and the fury of the ocean shall be like a quiet graveyard in comparison to the deafening sounds of our united voices. Time to speak up is now. Time to speak up is now. Thank you very much. We want to say thank you, and we'll be closing the room in the next 3 seconds. We'll say thank you once again. 3,
thank you.
2, 1. Goodbye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
See body. Ọmọ Olúwa dìde, bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ̀. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀. Amalgamation in Nigeria, created by the enemy of black men. Freedom, 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 freedom. When the fuck they come and free us? Freedom, 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 freedom. Location 9 ìlú Boko Haram, ìlú àwọn hush politician àti S-men. Fake promises every year, fake miracle everywhere, fake military anywhere. Now, all the dry people wanna go. The Afro people wanna go. Location 419 need to break up. Freedom, 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 freedom. We need the freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. Kusina kusomi kusonja kusana kusi security bibi tabibi si ha. Free education and audio. Good security na one chance. Over 100 million people don't work. All my nigga need a job, they know they see work. They want to go to farm, full and near attack. Don't give me any fucking reason why we no go. Even many people say they wanna go. Freedom, 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 freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. Tó bá gbàgbọ́ nínú Oòduà Republic, ẹ jẹ́ ká súnmọ́ pọ̀. British came to Africa to come and enslave us, and you call it colonization. You join four nations together and you call it one Nigeria. Who tell you we are one when only Yoruba never had themselves right? But you join us together, even with the people who never think like us. And since then, you damage our culture, you damage our language, and you damage our way of life. Because of your whole greediness. Before one day amalgamation has expired since 2014. Come to Nigeria. Come and separate what you match together as one. We are not one. We can never be one. We don't have the same culture. We don't speak the same language. We just came there from nowhere.